Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. Back for week number 8. It is Imola in our final stretch of the season for the European leg. What a racetrack, what an iconic circuit to be at for this arguably nearly penultimate week of the season. It is the final week of the drop scores, so drivers this week have to make sure they try and get as many points as they can, because going into the next 2 weeks, drop scores will not take effect. So it'll all be very critical in them final 2 weeks. I am joined by Langley tonight. He's just currently on the phone to the doctors at the moment, so he'll be joining me in a few moments' time. We've also got a special guest in the commentary box. You normally see him on a Tuesday night, and in that beloved Honda on a Thursday night. It is Gillies. Gillies, welcome to the commentary box. Excuse me. Great to have you here, first of all. And Imola, an iconic, historic, legendary racetrack. We should be seeing some good racing over these next 2 races tonight.
Cheers, Matt. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. And yeah, Imola, what is there to say, really? It's iconic, it's historic, it's a real driver's track as well. I feel like the majority of drivers love driving around here. It's just got that flow, hasn't it, that few tracks tend to have, few more modern tracks tend to miss out on. And yeah, I'm really excited, actually, because looking at the practice times at the moment, there's obviously some gaps towards the top 3, but if you look from about 4th to about 15th, all sort of separated by about half a second, so hopefully there's going to be some really good racing in the midfield tonight.
Well, let's see what will happen in that midfield section as I'm trying to find the driver coming out on the circuit. The championship standings look like this. Gary Leach now leads away by 43 points from Steve Millington, who's had a few rough rounds recently. Could do with getting back to his best. Mirko Ricci is in P3. On 691 points, so within that 100-point margin, still plenty to play for. Sam Williams is on 685.5, again within that 100-point margin, so he's still in contention. Wolski 101 behind, not out of this, but really needs a good couple of weeks to put results back to back, and obviously a bit of luck to go his way with other drivers maybe having a few mistakes or not. Sam Greaves is P6 from Tanner Nebo, Mark Hunt, then it is Michael Johnson, Kieran Argent from Keegan Stardog, Diego Flores is P12 from Gabino, De Block, Paul Williams and Bettison. Then drivers in the silver category are still mathematically possible to win this championship. The drivers who aren't anymore is Brian Craig, then Andrew Taylor, Sturrock, Limiter, Popovic, Jerome Lander and Cummins. In the bronze category, everybody can win the championship still. It is Peckman, who is some 56 points clear of Neil Broom. Can that gap be brought down? Stapley is down in 3rd from Malarex, Tucker, Cherrymore, Privet, Page, Taylor, Simcoe and Rob Smith. And then the team's championship will quickly get through them. Apologies for starting a little later tonight. I'm from work a little later due to busy traffic on the motorway. So I've eaten my tea a bit later than normal, so I apologise for that. But SimPlay Racing have a good, just over 214-point gap lead to 4Q Motorsport. Forever Forward are only 16 points behind them. Greasy Bandits are only 44.5 points behind Forever Forward Racing, so very tight between them. Cloud9 are P5 from Vanguard Race Team, Team GBR, Richie's Course Team, Team Merlot, FRL Racing Team, Black and Blue Racing and the Vulcan Sinner can all still win the championship. Pages Racing Team, Billy No Mates and Mustang Alley Racing cannot win it no more. So we are here live at this fantastic Imola circuit. The practice session has Sam Williams as the fastest man out on the track at the moment, and that was done on similar fuel levels really to that of Tanner Nebo as well, looking at the timing tower. So interesting to see from them guys there. But it's all about this race, Stephen. It's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? The 15-minute sprint always provides us with a little bit of drama, but here at Imola, where it's not necessarily easy to overtake, could provide, you know, a tricky challenge.
Yeah, always a lot going on in the 15-minute sprint race, and the thing we've got to look out for here as well is T1 down into the Tamburello. Many an incident we've seen here in the past. I'm sure with those quicker guys at the back of the pack looking to make up places in such a short race, I'm expecting some incidents on lap 1. I hope not, but I'm expecting them.
Your grid order then, row 1 is Drone Lander from Popovic, row 2 is Sturrock from Brian Craig. We've then got Richard Bettison from Paul Williams, the Black and Blue Racing Team, lining up alongside each other. Gabino is P7 from Flores in 8th. Keelan Stardog will be alongside Kieran Argent in P9 and 10. Michael Johnson just ahead of Mike Hunt in 11th and 12th. Tanner Nebo from Sam Greaves. Wolski from Williams, Mirko Ricci from Steve Millington, and then Gary Leach at the back of that silver class. Simcoe at the front of bronze, and then it's Taylor alongside Privet, Cherrymore alongside Tucker, with Malarex, Stapley, Broom, and then Peckman. Going to be an interesting night, this first race. Like you said, possibly a chance of some incidents, especially heading into that Tamburello circuit. But it's where these reverse grids at this stage of the season, Steve, are where the drivers who are in that championship fight have really got to play it a little bit smart. We know, based on last season, how good the BMW was at this circuit. A lot of BMWs in that silver class especially, you know, 10th below, they've got a lot of work to do. So if they have got a bit of a dominant car, they've got to bide their time with this championship that they're all fighting for.
Yeah, for sure, and it's hard to sort of settle into that rhythm. You've only got 15 minutes. You feel like you want to make as many places as you can, but you've got to be confident, but you've got to be methodical. Pick your battles. Imola, it's a track that's sort of got this reputation of being difficult to overtake, but you can pass here, you know, to a couple of different places. Tamburello's one, down to Ravazza at the end of the lap another. And yeah, if you keep your nose clean, that we know how quick that BMW is around here, so hopefully in 15 minutes time those guys can make their way up the order. It's Kieran Argent, and P10 is the lead BMW of that group in silver. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye and see what he can do coming through.
He's going to be the one to see what will happen. I suppose the other strategy as well, I'd say, just a few overtake opportunities. You know, the pit stop in this sprint race might be a key form for especially the likes of Gary Leach, Steve Millington, Mirko Ritchie, them kind of drivers in that silver championship. You know, the pit stop might be the way to go, as Dronelander has stopped on circuit at the moment. I'm not sure what's happened there to him. He was starting from pole position, so hopefully he can get that one back going in this race. But yeah, Popovic will now lead the pack away. I will keep my eyes on Dronelander to see if he gets back going. He has now, so Dronelander should shoot to the front and be on. Good evening to Tips in the chat, Gary Clarwell, Peaceful Stepdad, and Vasich as well. Hope you're all doing very well. I see Gillies in there as well, so very good evening to everybody. Hope you're all doing well, and I'm going to be looking forward as Dronelander has now had a spin in catching up to the back of the pack. He's in a roll as he gets back going once again. So it's not been the ideal formation up here for Dronelander. Back to the front once again. If he is having any real issues in this, not causing too many dramas. Back to the front he gets now. He'll be getting ready to go underway. Crucial for these drivers to get this start absolutely perfect, because it's a long start straight here. So that run from the line down towards Tamburello is going to be absolutely critical for these drivers.
Yeah, it's long enough as well that if you're a little bit smart, you can start to pick up the slipstream. So very important to get the jump here. We know the Porsche in particular is a bit of a lightning bolt off the line, so maybe keep an eye out on those. But yeah, it's going to be interesting going into T1. You see that Dronelander has gathered it all up and will be able to take the pole position after a couple of moments on the formation lap. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many do come into the pit lane lap one. It's a bit of a tricky pit lane entry here, actually. It wouldn't surprise me if we do see some drive-throughs or some stop goes for speeding. It's you really have to slam on the anchors. So if everybody goes for the box, it could be a bit of going for that.
You might actually be able to just see the pitbull mark on the right of your screen. There it is. So you can see it's a bit of a fair way down past the barrier, but just as you're coming out of that, building up your speed, it really looks like he says there, just slam on the anchors. But we're coming towards the start line now. The drivers are 2 by 2 in formation. Dronelander looks a little ahead of where he possibly should be here. This could be potentially, we saw this with Popovic last week, out of position for Dronelander in what could be catastrophic. He does slow it down a little bit now. Hopefully he'll be able to not get that drive through. Well, the old green through, nobody has picked up the drive through, but it does look a good start from that of Sturrock on that second row of the grid. Well, the Aston Martin's up to then so further down the field as well. Look at Sturrock looking to make it 3 wide as Popovic and Dronelander just make a bit of contact. Sturrock into the back of Dronelander, who has to cut the grass, comes back on, does lose out to Popovic, but they all get through nice and cleanly. Further down the field, everybody jostling for position, and that is Keenan Stordog bouncing over the curb, and into the wall he goes as he bounced off of one of the Aston Martins. The other yellow flag is the 207 car. I believe that is Taylor, who's had a bit of a drama as well. So where is Simcoe? He is through the pack. He's had an off somewhere. And so far, good start for Popovic out front. He's the one who's got the job done.
Yeah, just looking a bit further back, it looked like both the forward racing BMWs had a bit of an incident at turn 1, so they might have some damage. It looked like in bronze as well, Simcoe, our pole sitter, has had an incident. He's fallen right at the back. It also looked like Sam Williams getting crowded off the circuit a little bit there at Villeneuve. He took a little trip for the gravel. He's gathered it back up into 14th, but yeah, we suggested that lap 1 might be a little bit rough, and it seems to happen for a couple of people, but not for Popovic though.
And if you look at 3 of the championship rivals, Gary and Steve Millington also got down the road. Was here from Steve Millington, looking to make a run on the Aston Martin of Stapley. Chooses against that. Gary stays ahead of Stapley, so Steve just couldn't get that run done. And Gary into the back of Peckman, who taps out of the 23 of Mark Tucker around, and then is chaos on the exit of the chicane. Simcoe got caught up in that Starlog as well, and that is huge for the bronze championship. The silver championship leader tapping the bronze championship leader around. We'll see what comes of that one in a moment. Gary trying to still get past Stapley further out front. Sturrock putting Dronelander under some pressure. That Mercedes-Benz got a good amount of grunt in a straight line as Bettison and Argent dive straight into the pit lane. Here comes Sturrock, the grunt to the Mercedes-Benz, just trying to pull that inside line now of Dronelander, who's trying to cover Tamburello. Gives Sturrock as tight a line as possible. Sturrock gets it on the inside, just too much on the curb through the middle part of Tamburello. Dronelander has to check up. Brian Craig gives him a tap. That's brought Flores, who's gone wide and into play. Johnson's off in the background as well. So there is drama still happening on lap 2, and Gary Leach looks to have a run here on that of Cherry Moore. Down the start straight, down towards Villeneuve they come, and Gary gets Cherry Moore in the back pocket. Gary now moving up into the top 10. We had a handful of cars into the pits at the end of the lap.
Yeah, that was a lovely move from Sturrock actually. Gave him a bit of the dummy. It looked like he was going to go to the outside, then just at the last minute switched to the inside on Dronelander. Managed to just about get it stopped. Jumped over the sausage curbs, but managed to keep it in check just to get the move done. A little bit further back, it looked like Flores had a bit of an incident at Villeneuve as well, whilst they were going sort of 2 or 3 wide and ended up in the gravel. I think he managed to keep it out of the wall, but he's lost a few places. He's down in sort of potentially about 15th or so that's not ideal. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, there it is. Stop go. 30 seconds. There's a couple.
Sam Greaves and Richard Bettison. Stop go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. So that is their race ruined in this first one as Gary Leach gets up the inside of Paul Williams. He's a man on a mission at the moment, not trying to pit early and get the undercut. He's trying to do the moves on track so far. Your lead pit runner was the 75 as well of Richard Bettison, who come out ahead of Kieran Argent, and that was Hunt going wide in the background coming through Tamburello. So pit stop's done for them runners, and where will they feed out in this race? But Gary Leach working his way through the pack, and we've got Cabino and Brian Craig both into the pit lane. So 2 more pit stops for the drivers out front at the moment. Yeah, a lot of dramas already here in Imola. We're seeing as well Stephen Millington and Matt of Privet now into the pits. So a couple more runners coming into the pit lane. There you go, Taylor and Tucker both stay out. 2 stop goes. That'll really ruin your race here at Imola, especially in the 15-minute sprint.
Yeah, I had a quick look before we went live, and it's 71 seconds lost for a 30-second stop round here, and that's what I mean, 2/3 of a lap in such a short race. That's just a killer. You're not coming back from that. Quite interestingly, when they the 2 Lambos came into the pit lane earlier, it looked like Craig, who was the lead car, made the decision to box very late. Cabino had to basically jump on the brakes before going into the back of him. It looked like they managed to avoid contact, but yeah, that pit entry, like we mentioned, it's a tricky one.
It'll catch you out if you're not prepared to slow down. So 4 cars in the pit. Simcoe has done his stop but not registered it, so he's not putting fuel in the car, so he's going to have to come back into the pits. Sadly for him, good practice. A good pace in the practice session as Johnson has passed Cherry Moore. Wolski trying to get into the back of Mirko Ricci. Sturrock, Gary Leach got the fastest lap of the race. Sturrock has pulled away from Dronelander and is 2.1 off the back of Popovic, who says go Pop, support from Serbia in the chat. So great to see Popovic having some support in the chat as well. But when do the leaders decide to pit? For these 2, arguably possibly Dronelander, they're in a good position where they're not under too much pressure at the moment. They've got a nice clear road in front of them. Unless they catch up to any traffic, they haven't really got to pit straight away.
Yeah, clean air is such a big deal in these short races. I'd be staying out here to as late as possible if I was one of these top 3. There, you know, Popovic 2 seconds, Dronelander 5 seconds of free air in P3. Although it looks like he's got Mirko Ricci in the tow. He's not going to be close enough to do anything about it, but so maybe he will have to defend in the next couple of laps as Ricci looks like he's on a mission there. As Oh, and he goes off Dronelander.
Yeah, he's made a mistake as Mirko Ricci bounced over the sausage curves on the inside of the second part of Tamburello, and that's put Dronelander on the back foot now against a very fast and charging Gary Leach. Won here last season in the BMW, if you remember that fantastic win over Sam Williams and Wolski, where it was a fight to the very end. And Gary chops to the inside for Tozer, can't get it done up the inside. Dronelander just covers that one off. Stop go done for Bettison and for Greaves, but that's put them down the order. Gary has an almighty wiggle out of the hairpin as they come towards Piratella now. The 207 has returned to the pits. That is Taylor, M. Taylor. So he must have had a bit of damage somewhere because he's gone yellow flag. And now Dronelander sliding through Piratella down towards Aqua Minerale. They come for the third time of asking. Gary Leach is on a mission at the moment. Dronelander's got no answer to these cars he's getting.
Yeah, Leach in particular looks like he's absolutely flying. He's maybe even having a look at the Variante Outer. What's a bit of a late move to the inside? Yeah, I think that was probably the wise decision there, just tuck back in. But Dronelander going backwards, just to maybe change my opinion from a couple of minutes ago. If I was Dronelander here, I'd be looking to get into the box. Ooh, that was
a little argy-bargy from the pair of them there. It looked like Dronelander was trying to just come across to cover Gary. Gary then got in the back that goes deep at Ravazza. Dronelander gives him a tap for good measure. Now tries to get the upper number and the exit to Ravazza. Handbags being thrown between the pair of these two here. And in the background, you've got a three-way fight between Paul Williams, Johnson and Cherry Moore. And that is Johnson and Williams into the pit lane at the same time. So they've decided to box. Kieran Argent is ahead of Wolski. He is now the lead pit runner. And a stop-go 30. That is for Taylor. So whatever he's done in the pit lane, he's assumed speed. That's going to ruin his race as well. Stardock, in fact, Greaves and Benson actually came out ahead of Simcoe and Stardock, so not necessarily the worst results in dead last. As Hunt is under pressure from Tan and Evo. Gabino not a million miles away ahead of Sam Williams. Still got that fight between Gary on the Havoc. Gary Leach has got past, so he's got that job done. 1.6 between Sturrock and Popovic so far. So all good from them two in this race. Nice, quiet, calm race. They are starting, though, to slowly, if you look at the track map, gain on some back markers. There are only a couple of corners behind that of Peckman. And that could really prove to be a tricky one. So look at the queue of cars that have already pitted down there. Kieran Argent is your net pit leader. Will he get ahead of Paul Williams and Michael Johnson? Williams goes green now. And Kieran Argent easily getting comfortably past both of them. So Kieran Argent, keep your eye on this result for Kieran. This could be an absolute belter for him with that early lap one pit stop, depending on the pace of Popovic and Sturrock. But Gary Leach, still your fastest lap of the race. Halfway through, or just about. So it's been a chaotic start to the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure these guys will be maybe settling down for the hour-long feature race. Interestingly, Popovic and Sturrock both remaining out. I'd have been tempted to have maybe taken the pit lane there. The traffic's coming up, and we've got some quick guys who are already boxed here. And I think it's the sensible option. Why risk it? You know, you've got the track position. Why risk tripping over some traffic late on when you can just take your pit stop and probably, you know, still come out in the net lead of this race? So interesting. As Gary Leach has also made his stop now, so that'll free up Dronelander, who's Ferrari's looking a little bit worse for wear, as he says. Not quite showroom spec there.
And Williams onto the back of him here, nearly Steve Millington, and then that of Stapley as well. And they're gaining onto the back of Brian Craig, so almost a six-way fight for this lead. It's down towards Ravazza they come. And Hunt is going to have a look at the inside of Brian Craig in the BMW's got alongside and down towards Ravazza. They drop down the hill. Tanner's just going to sit and wait nice and patiently. Hunt on the brakes, gets up the inside, doesn't run it deep. Great little move that from Hunt. Brian Craig under pressure now from Tanner Nebo, but Tanner must have had a bad run through the first part of Ravazza because he's under even more pressure from that of Gabino. This is riding on board with the Lamborghini. You can see that BMW stretching its legs in a straight line. Is this going to be Tanner Nebo that we ride on board with now to have a look? As there's Gary Leach dropping down. He's going to be behind Tanner Nebo in this race and possibly others as Tanner looks up the inside of Brian Craig. Gary Leach on the outside of Gabino, and Gary manages to come out just behind Tanner Nebo. And in this fight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, nearly 9 cars in this battle. Wolski has got ahead of Kieran Argent somewhere over the last lap or two. So Kieran has dropped down to now the second runner after the pit stops. And that puts Wolski really in the box seat as Sturrock and Richie are in the pits. If Gary's dropped down that far, what will the fate of the other drivers be for not pitting early?
Yeah, interesting. It looks like early might have been the way to go based on where Leach has come out just quietly on that run to Tamburello. It looked like Sam Williams was going to get the run on Gabino, and the last thing you want to see here is a slow-moving Gary Leach coming out of the pit lane, and that had to kind of just maybe make Sam think about that one. But these guys, the elbows are out, Leach getting out of shape there through Aqua Minerale, and it looks like Williams got a little Brianti out there on Gabino. I think that's, well, just as that timer ticks down, are we going to see a few more lunges, a few more desperate moves? Brianti out is not a sensible place to pass here, but it can be done if you're assertive enough.
Can be indeed, as Tanner Nebo nearly on the inside grass there as Brian Craig made sure to cover him off as best he could. He goes a little deep though. That's going to invite Tanner Nebo up the inside. Through goes Tanner, so he makes up another move in this race, and a good move it was. Gary Leach now on the back of the BMW of Brian Craig as the other drivers who came out in the pit lane. I'm just looking at the track map. Sturrock stayed ahead of Wolski, but Wolski and Argent both jumped Mirko Ritchie as Gary now gets his nose up the inside. Sam Williams has got ahead of Gabino and braking hard into Tamburello. Sam Williams may fancy a double overtake, he does, and Gabino into the back of Brian Craig, spinning him at both around in fact. And that is absolutely catastrophe for these two drivers who have had a nightmare into turn one. Craig lost the 2 spots. Gabino waits for him to get back going. And hopefully, Matt, that is loud enough for you now. Was it a quiet issue or what was the problem? So I've just seen you comment in the chat. But either way, Johnson looking on the back of Peckman, who's got a wounded McLaren there, it is safe to say, on the front. Peckman picks up another spot that is crucial for his bronze championship at the moment. Stapley leads the way in bronze from Cherry Moore, from Privet. The BMW's going well out front. The top 3 now into the pits with 2 minutes left on the clock. And Sturrock is your net pit leader from Wolski, who has really started to pull away from Kieran Argent. Gary Leach, though, all of a sudden straight on the back of Tanner Nebo. So the pace of Gary tonight is incredible from the two-time pro champ back on season 1 and 2 of the Project Cars 2 days. He is absolutely charging out there, but he's kind of leaving no prisoners. He is very aggressive tonight. Yeah, we've seen it a few times actually. He's trying to get his moves done. He's all over the curbs, all over the grass, kicking up the dust. But he's seems to be working for him. Fastest lap of the race at the moment. Currently 10th, but you might feel that he might. No, he should probably. Well, I guess where's Dronelander going to come out? He's moving off the jacks. That might be another place for these guys. 75, a drive-through for track limits. That is Bettison to a drive-through to add to his stop-go penalty. So that has really hurt his night. And yeah, Dronelander not out the pitch yet, neither is Flores. And these have all sailed past Dronelander at the moment. Sturrock took the lead of this race. So Sturrock leads from Wolski. Popovic is down in 4th place. He must have had a nightmare of a pit stop. Yeah, I was just having a look at that. How's that happened? He was, what, 2 seconds in front of Sturrock before the stops? He's lost about 7-8 seconds there. How's that happened? Possible. Must have been a horror of an inlet. His tyres, I wonder, or he's had a moment on the inlet, like you say. But change of tyres, extra 5 seconds. Gary Leach wide once again. Tanner Nebo gaining on the back of Hunt. Well, either way, this has put Argent on the podium and could give Sturrock his first win of the season. Hasn't won since the Bronze Championship last season. I think we may get one more lap in. Bronze Championship leader Peckman off, tumbling down the order here in this race. So what a shame for Peckman. He might be behind that of Sam Greaves now. I don't think he actually is. Sam Greaves a lot further back. It's Tanner Nebo who's done the fastest lap of the race. So Tanner's being able to match that pace of Gary Leach. It is a 42.195 from Tanner, a 42.202 from Gary, and a 42.285 from Wolski. Kieran Argent then the 4th fastest. Stop-go penalty. Who is that for? That is for Bettison now. So his night has gone from bad to worse, speeding in the pit lane after doing his drive-through. Here goes Nebo on that outside line. of that of Hunt as he now looks to tuck underneath onto that inside line. Can't get it done. 3 BMWs, equal machinery. The only difference will be the driver ability and the setup they're possibly running. Gary Leach has got an almighty run out the final corner, going wheel to wheel with Adatan and Ebone. And Gary Leach here has got that car on the inside. No, he hasn't. Tan has managed to find a bit better speed. Oh, in fact, the race is done. I've missed the clock. The race is over. Sturrock's won from Wolski from Argent. Apologies to the top three. Stapley has won in P11 in bronze. He's your bronze winner. Cherrymore second in bronze. Privet 16th. Two caught up in the action there, Stephen, that I've missed the end of the race.
I mean, if it's any consolation, I was exactly the same boat. I thought I was fully immersed in watching Leach and Kneebone going wheel to wheel there, and I think they didn't really know the race was over either because they had to slam on the anchors to avoid the guys in front. Kneebone gets the fastest lap of the race. I think that was maybe motivated by seeing that bright orange beamer of Gary Leach behind him. Probably enough to put some smoke up the backside. Great result for Stapley as well to win in bronze. It's a good job from him there.
Well. Broome as well, finishing fourth in bronze, but had himself 5 cars between himself and his closest championship rival. Huge points out for Broome in the bronze championship as Simcoe crosses the line. We're just awaiting Greaves now to cross the line, and he'll do so. And I believe Betton is possibly in for that stop-go penalty because he hasn't yet taken the checkered flag at the moment. But that'll give us chance to go for a break, and we'll be back momentarily where hopefully we'll have Langley in race 2 to join me and Stephen in the box. But don't go anywhere, we'll be back in just a few moments. welcome back then to SimPlay Motorsport. We're currently riding on board with Peckman and their bronze qualifying session here at Imola. Beautiful day with the clear skies overhead, just a little bit of cloud every now and again, but it's a beautiful day here at Imola. In the championship now, it's taken a bit of a turn. Gary Leach 8.21 he's on. He's still some way clear of Steve Millington on 7.72. Before then that of Mirko Rich on 7.58. We've then got Wolski on 7.41. Sam Williams on 7.40.5. Tyler Nebo 7.03.5. Kieran Argent, big climber up into P7 from Hunt. Greaves Johnson now in 10th. Stardog is 11th from Flores Gabino, and they are the last drivers who can win the Silver Championship. That may change, and we may lose the likes of Flores and Gabino from that championship hunt in this second race. De Block can no longer win it, neither can Paul Williams. Sturrock up into 16th after that race win ahead of Bettis and Craig. Popovich moves up into 19th, then it's Taylor, Dronelander, Limiter, and then Cummins. And down the order we have, we have that of Bronze Championship, where two drivers cannot win it anymore. That is Simcoe and Smith in 10th and 11th, but Page is 9th, can still win it, and probably will still be in that contention going into next week, as will Taylor in 8th. Privet is 7th, so close the gap to the cars above him. Cherrymore still 6th, but is only half a point behind Tucker for 5th place. He's not far off the back of Malarex either on 4.39 in 4th. Stapley is only 8.5 points behind Neil Broom, who has closed that gap to 43 points to him and Peckman. And in the Teams Championship, SimPlay Racing still lead the way from Forever Forward Racing. Then it is 4Q Motorsport, Greasy Bandits, Cloud9, Vanguard, Team GBR and Richie's course team. They top 8 are the only 8 that can still mathematically win this championship. Before it is on Team Merlot, FRO Racing Team, Black and Blue Racing, Balkan Simmel, Pages Racing Team, Billy Nomex, Mustang Alley Racing. Langley has decided to join us for the second race of the afternoon, and he did say that he watched the last 3 minutes of the stream, and even he missed the end of the race by watching all the action. So it's not just me and Stephen who missed it, it was Langers as well, as Peckman is about to cross the line to do his first lap. Langley, good evening to yourself. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Dramatic first race. I don't know how much you saw.
A dramatic first race and very difficult to overtake. And if someone wants to overtake, it looks like you have to get your elbows out in a dramatic fashion, as it typically is around this track. And I think we'll see a lot more of that in the second race as well. We'll get treated to 60 minutes of it this time instead of just 15. And yeah, it was some exciting racing out there. I was kind of hoping that fight continued down to turn 1, but unfortunately the line decided to take place instead.
We've just seen some comments come in there from Ken saying good evening, good luck to Gillies on comms, and Mackenzie in there as well saying it's that wild. Is that a wild Gillies? I'll see what he actually typed. Is that a wild Gillies on commentary with the goat Duffin? Well, thank you very much for the kind words and the brilliant Langers. Brilliant. You're brilliant. I'm the goat. You see what I mean? Just can't compare. And it is Gillies. Gillies, it was an epic race one. We both missed the end of it, but it had a bit of everything, didn't it? It was just full of drama and excitement.
Yeah, I mean, it started off chaotic, and it seemed to carry on from there, really. Lap 1 was a bit hectic, and then they just kept on going. It'll be interesting to see how they tackle 60 minutes, because I don't know if I can keep up with that for a full hour, to be honest. Interestingly, just qualifying time-wise, Peckman with a 43.0, currently the fastest driver. The fastest bronze time in free practice was a 43.4, so already those lap times coming down. So interesting to see how much more they've got pace-wise, but the track coming in nicely. Yeah, we're seeing the track rubber in nicely. And Langley, if you think back to last year on comms, the Wolski, Leach and Williams fight we had between the three of them, it was an epic fight towards the end, and I've got a feeling we're going to be in for a bit more of that with possibly a few more drivers, Nebo and Argent, Richie also in these fights as well, so it could be drama till the very end.
Yeah, and I think Popovich has shown some pace over these last couple races. I mean, he was very quick around Indianapolis, just harmed by that drive-through penalty. And yeah, I'm very impressed so far. I know the BMW is quite an OP car around here, but I'm very impressed with Privet. On top of the podium that he just grabbed in class in race 1, he's only 5/10 off the championship leader Peckman. In this one, he's been toward the back of the bronze grid this season, but Imola, a very strong track for the BMW, and he's making the most of it so far.
He is indeed. Broom going into third now, Malarek's up into second, but like I say, only half a second off the back. Peckman gets it all out of shape, and round goes Peckman at Aqua Minerale then, just as he was on a third flying lap. He invalidated his second one, and with only 3 minutes 13 left on the clock for these drivers in qualifying, crucial to get the lap times on the board. Gillies, you and Langley will both know about this, obviously being in the gold category in Pro on a 30 night. I know Langley's not been around these last few weeks because of work purposes, but what pressure are you under to make sure that you're not going over that 10-minute time limit that you have to get every lap nailed in that 10-minute window that you guys have as gold drivers?
Yeah, it's quite nice. I'm actually quite a bit of a fan of the split quali that they've brought in this season. I feel like it gives everybody sort of a bit of track time, a bit of time to be highlighted. And I think like the 10-minute session is quite nice actually. Like, you know that you can't really mess around. You've got to get your lap time in and get it done. You could argue that typically going first in the first group is a little less optimal because the track usually isn't quite at its fastest. But we've seen some lap times from the so-called lower category sort of trouble the quicker guys, especially on a Thursday night. So I quite like it, to be honest. It's short and sweet. So, and
we've seen, haven't we, on a Wednesday night as well, Gray, the likes of Cherry Moore and Peckman, also Neil Broom sometimes being in that top 10 area. And if you think back to last Thursday, you see the conditions are better for the platinum drivers over the gold. Well, it was almost a non-sort of scripted reverse grid last week in race for the 90-minute race at Indianapolis, due to the weather getting worse. But Langley, how many times in bronze this season have we seen 3, maybe even 4, sort of be in that top 15, top 10 area?
Yeah, and it's become more prevalent toward the end of the season, because you have the guys at the top of the bronze championship, especially looking to they're really chasing down that title, so they're practicing a bit more, and so they're getting higher up the grid and in the mix with the silver drivers. I quite like the bronze or the split qualifying in general. It also I don't know if you've had the same experience, Gillies, but you feel like you put in a good lap in qualifying, and it's boom 28th, and you're like, well, that's kind of depressing. and well, with the split qualifying, it actually gives you a comparison to the people you're actually racing, not just the entire grid. So you actually get a real-time comparison of your competitors instead.
Well, we've seen some fantastic qualifying laps coming here. 4/10 separate the top 6 so far in this qualifying session, and it is Stapley by 65 thousandths of a second clear of Broom, who's only 3 thousandths of a second clear of Peckman. Privets 2/10 off the pace. Cherrymore and Malarek's 4/10 off. Here comes Tucker towards the line. He now goes within 4/10 of a second. And what can Malarex do on this lap? The 186 has stopped, so Cherrymore will not get a final lap in this session. All the bronze drivers will, though, as they've all crossed the line, and we're about to see the floodgates open here at Imola, coming out the pit lane in just a few moments. I believe Peckman is also in the pits. We've only got Stapley, we've got the 56 of Simcoe, the 23 of Tucker, the 888 of Neil Broom, and then the 777 of Malarex. So Privet won't improve as well on his P4, sadly for him. And the 888 and 23 have actually gone stationary. So Tucker and Broom have now returned to the pit lane, so there's only 3 bronze drivers left out there on a current flying lap, and the floodgates have literally opened, because look at how many cars on that small little track map are all gaggled up together. And for once, it's not Tanner Nebo and Kieran Argent who's your lead 2 out. They've played the strategy really well recently, and not the first out tonight, so let's see what happens. Malarex is just invalidated, so he may return to his pit box, but here comes Stapley then, trying to take that pole position. The only person who's on track who can beat him is Simcoe, 6/10 of a second down. Does he find an improvement? No, he does not. What can Simcoe do then on this lap? Has he found any time? He only needs 2 attempts and he could find himself P5. He finds even more than that and goes P4, only a 10th off of pole. 4/10 of a second separate the top 8 in qualifying. That is outrageous.
That is very outrageous. I mean, that is probably one of the closest bronze qualifying sessions that we've had this season. We've been so used to seeing Cherry Moore and Peckman just blow the entire field out the water, and wow, what a tight qualifying session from the bronze drivers. Excited to see, because they're going to be all packed up on the grid next to each other with those small gaps. Excited to see what happens, especially early on in this race when they're fighting for track position.
Yeah, let's see what happens to them then as they come through in this qualifying session, as the silver drivers now start their first flying laps of it. And it's Michael Johnson who's got a lovely clear track in front of him. I say that, Mirko Ritchie's just coming through Villeneuve as Johnson's going through Tamburello. A couple of drivers are on qualifying bans, that is Sturrock and Wolski. So Wolski has got to really do the hard work, and Sturrock, your race one winner, as Johnson's had a moment. Off the track he goes, and the 22 of Kieran Argent will now be the first man to set a lap time. Good pace from Kieran in recent weeks, Langers. I know Gillies, obviously, I don't know how much you've watched this season, but Argent really starting to find his feet in this BMW this back half of the season.
Yeah, and motivated by the fact of the Constructors' Championship they're fighting in as well. They're 200 plus points behind SimPlay Racing right now. But anything can happen these last few weeks, and you've seen it before in motorsport, and you will see it again in motorsport. It is just never over until it's over.
Yeah, it is never over until it's over. So we'll see what will happen in this session. Johnson's still going. He's not really interfering with Argent's lap, so he's not going to get out of the way. There's no blue flags being shown, so he's perfectly fine to continue on his way at the moment. And I say at the moment, he's only got 2 corners left to go. Kieran Argent about to set the first lap time. Richie and Dronelander have set a lap time, but it's not representative, so that's why we've not shown you theirs here. But here comes Kieran Argent in that BMW, which has been strong, as we know here at Imola. And what can the BMW down the start finish straight? Kieran Argent goes, crosses the line, only up into 5th at the moment, but that's his first flying lap of the session. We're going to drop back down to the 180 as Steve Millington goes into 7th place. A couple of invalid laps from drivers elsewhere. But who are you looking at so far, Gillies, based off of what you've seen of Pro-Am this season, as potentially pole position material?
I mean, I think here particularly, I think that you've got to look at the sort of the BMW drivers. Argent's looked pretty quick. Leach was probably the fastest guy on track in race 1, and that was with a car that had looked like it had more than second hand, so got to keep an eye out on him. Who else? Kneebone, who was Calcone provisional pole. He's with a 42.2, and Sam Williams less than a 10th as well, so it's going to be close. But yeah, I think the front engine cars seem to be the package to have here.
Yeah, they do indeed, and I've never heard anybody say Kieran Argent could be on for a pole position. That's absolutely crazy. Evening to Yoshi in the chat, as well as Gareth Anderson in there as well, as Mirko Ritchie's coming down towards Ravazza to finish his second time. A few cars there. Popovich, Brian Craig, Flores, Johnson and Gary Leach yet to get a lap time on the board. But as we scroll up, look, Tanner Nebo from Sam Williams, your pole sitters. Greaves is 3rd in that silver class. Argent down in 8th at the moment with Greaves 6th. Millington top 10. Where will this put Mirko Ritchie? Obviously his first lap time wasn't representative, and he goes now up into P3, 6/10 so off the back of the cars around him. Here comes Michael Johnson, as Kieran Argent is on an invalid lap, so we'll see where Michael Johnson shoots up to, as we'll jump on board with Tanner Kneebone just after he crosses the line. And Johnson only up to 16th place for a man this season, Langley, who's looked like a different driver in that Porsche. Tanner Kneebone 41.3 puts 9/10 between himself and Sam Williams. Heck of a lap time.
Absolutely stating his intentions tonight, and following up with the win from last week at Indianapolis. Was not pole position last week at Indy, but basically after Popovich's drive-through went lights to flag, and he's looking like the man to beat out there right now, and fastest lap in race 1 as well, remember that. And continuing on, very impressive so far. Like I said, both Forever Ford drivers very interested in to see what they can do of this championship fight in the constructors. Not over in the drivers either, but a bit further out. Yeah, that's an impressive lap. Half a second behind is Sam Williams, who, honestly, that's not too bad of a lap either. The McLaren around here, not the greatest over curbs, so that's not that bad of a lap. But those two over the rest of the field, wow.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it, at the moment? When you think how close that bronze category was to what it is now in the silver category, as William in the chat says, what a lap. I think if you tune in tomorrow night, I think we'll be in the 40s, if not touching the 39. As Mirko Ricci finds a
you even have
improvement.
4 bronze drivers in the top 10 right now. Even exclamate how close that was and how competitive that bronze class was.
Yeah, really was. And here comes Kieran Argent. Can he find an improvement? 1.7 down on his teammate. Does he find a better lap here? He does. Moves up into third. And Tanner improves once again. A 41.332. So this BMW just going from strength to strength. There's one man I think that could beat him today. And it's this man, Gary Leach. And he pops it into P3. But he's 6/10 off the best. So maybe he's not the man to beat Tanner Kneebone tonight.
Yeah, I think somebody needs to tell Tanner that a pro's tomorrow with that lap time. It's a heck of a lap time, 41.3. I mean, half a second in qualifying is practically an eternity. So it'd be interesting if anybody can go quicker in the last 2 minutes. Did I also just catch a look? Does it look like the Forever Forward Racing guys are flying in formation? I wonder if there might be some lending of toes going on down the start-finish straight, but keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, if I know Kieran Argent, he'll be eager to get Tanner's toe over Tanner getting his toe with that sort of lap time from Tanner Nebo. Kieran will be wanting the slipstream from him as Stardog moves up into 15th place. We drop down now to P20 of Diego Flores. Mirko Rich is on an invalid lap, so we will go and check out Kieran Argent in just a moment. And you'd imagine Kieran might want to get out of Tanner's way. I mean, half a second with basically 1 lap left to go for everybody in this session isn't going to be beaten, but we'll wait and see as Flores stays in P19. There is the Forever Forward boys flying in formation down in towards Ravazza. There you go. A couple of drivers back in the pit. Sam Greaves is 1 in 7th place, so he won't get another lap time. Mirko Ricci is going to be the last driver to get a lap time in, and Tanner's actually bailed. He possibly thinks he's done enough in qualifying, and he's bailed to the pits. Here comes Kieran Argent then. Does he find an improvement? Small one. Doesn't change his position. The 94 of Sam Williams. Can he get even closer to Tanner Kneebone? Let's find out in a moment. No, he doesn't. No improvement for him there. It is a bit of a traffic jam going on by Steve Millington. I can't quite make out the number of who is in front of Steve to set a lap. It is Paul Williams. Just seen it flash up on his car. So Williams down in 24th. Does he find an improvement from 24th? He does, up into 21st. Steve Millington can't improve. Stapley, the bronze pole sitter, currently sat in a beautiful top 10 position. And where is the 74? That of Dronelander then in this one. As Anderson rooting for Stapley tonight, picked up a bronze class win last night in Hoodarren Cup. Mackenzie says, defo not a plat driver sat here, wondering if I can go even quicker than that. And Matt Wright's cheering on Kieran Argent. I didn't think I'd ever see the day, Langley.
He's definitely had his fair share of critics in chat before. He's definitely also had his fair share of critics in the box over the past couple seasons. So yeah, at least he has someone in his corner now. Just hopefully not to throw in the towel when it's time.
Yeah, when it's time indeed, as over the line goes Diego Flores up into P5. Heck of a lap that from Flores, and we're about to see the final lap times of this session. Drivers all returning to the pits. Kieran Argent needs 2 attempts to make it a Forever Forward Racing front row lockout. Can he get it done here? Around the final corner of Ravazza he goes. Not maybe the best exit he'd have liked. And can Kieran find that 0.2 of a second? Towards the line goes Kieran Argent now. Down in P4. Does he find an improvement? He does make it a Forever Forward front row lockout. Can Sam Williams take that away from the pair of them? Can he take pole position? No, he cannot. Popovic needs 9/10 to get on the front row of the grid. 1.4 to take pole. I don't think that's going to happen. Gary Leach has invalidated his lap. So he starts 4th. Popovic only 5th. Where is Brian Craig? Down in 23rd place. Can he improve from 23rd? Gabino's 24th. Craig up to 18th, so not a bad lap in the end for him. Here comes Gabino. 2.7 off the pace. Not used to seeing that for Gabino here then. And moves up to P12. But a Forever Forward front row lockout. Okay, we'll be a happy man tonight.
I wonder how much closer Kieran could have been, because his final corner looked terrible.
Yeah.
He was wide off the apex and slid through the corner. And with all that, still P2. I wonder how much closer he could have been. I think he lost at least 3/10 through that corner and to the line. So, yeah, it leaves me wondering. But the BMW's proving their might around here tonight.
Well, I'm looking at the timetable now, and Langley, you'll be able to see what I'm seeing. Tan and Ebone, fastest in sector 2 and 3. Look at Gary Leach's time. 0.683 down on Tanner, so 0.6 of a second. All lost in the final sector for Gary Leach. So if he hooked that up, it could have been a different story. But forever forward, front row lockout. What a job for the BMW drivers. If you two had to pick a race winner, who would it be?
I'll let Stephen go first on this one.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Langers. Thank you. I mean, it's hard to look past Tanner Kneebone with that qualifying performance, isn't it, really? I know it's boring to pick the pole sitter, but the BMWs look pretty good. He has got a rear gunner in Kieran Argent. I don't know how compliant Kieran will be to play that role, but and potentially if he can maybe hold the pack up whilst his teammate scampers down the road, it's not a glamorous job, but could help bring home a forward 1-2, dare I say.
Now, my pick is interesting because it sounds like the complete opposite from last week. I picked Tanner last week to win, the man on home soil. And I'm going to pick the man that Matt picked last week because he gets really strong throughout the races and he's best toward the end of the race. I think Gary has a great shot around here. I mean, genuinely speaking, though, he wasn't pole last time he won around here.
Yeah.
He got progressively better as the race went on. And I'm starting to see a similar theme in this one. We'll see what happens in turn 1. Did we get some Spain 2016 vibes here, maybe?
Me and you know Argent a little better than Gillies, don't we, from our time on the headset with him at times. Do you think he's compliant to take a P2? Because I don't.
No. No.
I think if that sniff of a
no.
race with the opportunity is there, I think he's going to take it with both hands. It depends how much he wants to play.
That's what we want, isn't it, really? We don't want him to, yeah.
I'm backing you, Langers. I think Gary's going to win this one. I think Gary's going to be the one to take the race win. P4. I think Sam's in a similar position to last season, isn't he? He's at that front sharp end of the grid. But I don't think the McLaren's going to have the edge over the 60 minutes. Popovic and Richie will be ones to keep our eyes on, I think.
Really impressed with Flores, that qualifying.
Yeah.
He's P7. That's a shock from this season. He's not been in the top 10.
There you go, Lang it. This will make you laugh. Matt Wright in the chat. My money's on Argent into the back of Kneebone, Tur 1. There you go.
Oh, please.
The silly thing is, I could see it. I could see it happening. If you know Kieran Argent,
I could see Sam or Gary into the back of them too.
I could definitely see Gary into the back of anybody based off of what race 1 provided. Let's I'm sure Steele agree with me there. Gary could make contact with the entire field in this 60-minute race tonight.
Also, if you want the entire audience to turn on Gary Leach after we both just picked him, may I remind you all watching that he races in chase cam.
Yeah, he
so
does.
That's a fair point. Him as you will.
Yeah. While you are in the YouTube chat, don't forget to check out the description below. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merchandise. Head over to Design Manchester. I don't know why the link's not working, but Design Manchester on Facebook is where you can find them, as well as hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are approaching that 1,200 subscriber mark, so if you can subscribe to the channel, that would be absolutely fantastic. And don't forget to hit the bell to be notified, as I'll be back on possibly my own tomorrow night once again for the Pro Series. Gillies will be on circuit, Langley will be delivering pizzas, I'll be in the commentary box. It could all happen. Righty reckons that Gary's in a rush to get on FIFA. That would not surprise me. Would not surprise me.
I could see both of them running Kneebone off the road, then Kieran and Gary in that case.
Gary just getting some practice in there. Look, he's gone inside Argent 3 times now, so he's just getting some practice in for turn 1. Target acquired. No, we all, it's just a bit of banter in the chat. Don't think we're picking on drivers. We just mean it in good jest. It's a good bit of fun while we get around to formation. So Tannen Ebone is the driver pick for Gillies. Me and Langley have both gone with Gary Leach. The chat so far going the way of Tannen Ebone. As good evening to Alistair Cummins as well. Whatman Lizard's going to pick Popovic to win here. Don't know why, but have a vibe. And I respect that from you because you're in the Nissan. Either way, Tannen Ebone and Kieran Argent forever forward. Leaders away. Mackenzie's your teammate, Gillies, as well, isn't he, if I'm correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to that.
Ah, right, fair enough. We'll ignore that comment then. But we all green and go for the second and final race of the evening. Kieran Argent looks like he got a bit of a better start than Tannen Ebone, but Tanner's car looks better in a straight line as he gets back ahead of Kieran Argent. Gary has to chop to the inside line instead of hitting the back of Kieran, and they're all through pretty cleanly. But it's squeaky, though, for Sam Williams, who's been left in the dust of the BMWs, and he's under pressure from that of Popovic and Diego Flores. No yellow flags thus far coming through turn one. Flores looking up the inside of Sam Williams on board with Popovic. Can't get the move done as they all filter through. Very, very close. Popovic to the back of Flores there. And a great start to this race as Mirko Ricci, late dive, bit of contact between himself and Hunt, and manages to just, again, bit more contact, so he hasn't got through. Stapley now is attacking the rear of Greaves. Tucks back in behind. Hunt giving Ricci a flash of the lights, who's now attacking the rear of Popovic in towards Piratella for the first time. And they stay as they was. But down the order, great start from everybody. They're all away nice and cleanly. And Dronelander's dropped back at the beginning behind Sturrock. Sturrock very wide there on his approach down towards that of Malarex and Aqua Minerali. But Tannen Ebone leads out front, and Argent doing exactly what Gilly said. Rear gunner time, trying to keep Gary Leach at bay.
Yeah, the BMWs are just far and away now. It's a fight between them three. It looks like Gary's a bit closer to Kieran than Kieran is to Tanner, so Tanner's job right now is to run away from this fight and hope that these two just fight each other, and there's a big gap if Gary gets past.
There is a big gap if Gary gets past, and Steve Millington stays ahead. In fact, gets ahead there of not only Stapley, but I believe that of Sam Greaves as well. So Steve Millington moving up inside the top 10 now. A lot of movers and shakers down the field. Look at Simcoe having a look on Jerry Moore. And on Neil Broom in the Aston Martin with Bettison and Starlog right behind him. Bettison nearly pushing him down the start line. Starlog here in that Porsche is getting an almighty slipstream. And look at the 4-5 of them duking it out in towards Tamburello. There you go. Bettison through on Simcoe. Looks up the inside on Neil Broom. It's a 2-for-1 special for Richard Bettison. And through he goes. Wolski's already up. Oh, it's chaos! Wolski and Stardog, the Greasy Bandits racing drivers, are at strife at turn one with Team Merlo. Dronelander involved, and that of Johnson. Not sure what happened there. I saw Wolski pulling to the inside line to make a few moves. Did he hit his teammate into turn one though, Gillies? It's all gone wrong on the second lap of the race.
Yeah, crazy stuff happening down at Tamburello. We sort of said in the interlude, didn't we, about how they're going to tackle the 60-minute race, because they, if they have the same sort of contact and chaotic nature as they did in the sprint, it wasn't going to last. And yeah, really just ending in tears for everybody. It looks like Peckman, Stapley and Cherry Moore kind of staying ahead of that in bronze. That's going to help out their races, but oh yeah, it's a long old drive when it's 57 minutes to go and you've got big damage. Yeah, tough luck for those guys.
Bonuses for the drivers. They can pit now and get to the end of the race if they need to. Hunt is gaining on the back of Mirko Ricci. That BMW showing its power here at Imola tonight as Gary Leach still continues to look on the rear of Kieran Argent. And he's really close to try and make a move maybe down in towards turn one. Kieran Argent will be wary of Gary Leach. He's raced with him for 5 or more years now. I don't know what Gary Leach has to offer and can. The multiple constructors winner back on Project Cars 2 and on ACC, can he fend off Gary Leach to help his teammate out? Tannen Ebone has got a second between himself and Argent. Stays ahead for the time being. Here comes Hunt on Mirko Ricci. Has a little look into Tamburello. Tucks back in behind. Doesn't want any more of that. Peckman on Gabino into Tamburello. There you go. And they stay as they was as well. Simcoe trying to gain back on Betson. He's got Neil Broom behind him. Broom will want to get some places back in this race. And now Wolski on the back of Taylor and Tucker. Tucker to the inside of Taylor into Tamburello. Taylor covers that one off. And they stay as they was. And whoa, Wolski had to check up a little bit there. And oh, he's just driven into the back. He's just driven into the back. Flores is down in 24th. What has happened to Flores? He's tumbled right down the order in 24th place. And Tucker there, absolutely helpless as Wolski drives into the back of him. What a shame for Mark Tucker. But crazy scenes as Kieran's got the gap. Langley back down to half a second. Satana not pulling away as quick as he'd have liked to in this race.
Yeah, I think Gary's going to get quite tired of seeing a forever Ford car in front of him. In this case, he has two of them in front of him these past 2 weeks. He's spent 90 minutes behind one last week, and now he's got two to spend 60 minutes behind unless they can dispatch of them quick.
Going to be interesting to see what Gary...
I'll tell you what, Sam's holding on
Yeah.
in his McLaren. He's not too far off these three BMWs. Good start for him to hold on to the back of these three.
It's going to be an interesting one for sure to see what Sam can do. Going to just drop down to Simcoe on Bettis in a moment. Nothing happening there. Gap just close. And Gary now has that run on Kieran Argent down towards Tamburello. There you go. Gary Leach has that inside line for the first part of Tamburello. He's about half a car length up the inside as they brake hard now. Gary, a little later on the brakes, gets his car up the inside and through he goes. He's dispatched quickly of Kieran Argent. Sam Williams with that fastest lap of the race. And Gary Leach can now do what he did last week and set his sights after Tanner Debone. And he's got more time here to catch him down than what he had last week, because it seemed like it was in the last 20 minutes Gary was getting close. He's got a lot more time now to try and gain on him. Wolski now on the back of Brian Craig. He's been in the wars tonight early on in this first 6 minutes as Wolski. He's looking up the inside into Tamburello here, Stephen. And that time gets through nice and cleanly.
Yeah, it's not quite showroom spec, the front of that Ferrari. It's sorry, the BMW, and he has to check up there from the... Is that Craig in front of him?
Taylor.
He had to check up really hard through the Tamburello there, but everybody was on their toes, managed to avoid any further contact. He's going to have a look at the inside at Tosa. He's got two wheels on the grass and gets that job done. And it looks like Taylor's struggling a little bit at this early stages, as Craig is also going to go through on the run up towards Piratella.
Oh no, Kieran must have had a terrible lap here, Langley, because all of a sudden Gary Leach is a second up the road and he's got Sam Williams for company right after Gary's passed him. He's got Sam Williams right there. Cairns has said in the chat, Gary's on chase cam. He asked for some BMW tips for Imola a while back. If only I'd have known that. Anderson, I'm going to go with Leach. Had a great battle with him last night in race one, and Mackenzie saying, yeah, was trying to work out what happened to Flores. I think he lost it all at Villeneuve a few laps ago. But something's happened to Kieran here, Langers, because all of a sudden he's nowhere near Gary Leach as Tanner does the fastest lap of the race, and he's got Sam within 0.6 of a second.
I was a little bit surprised he didn't defend the inside of turn one a bit more aggressively than he did. I know it's early on, but Gary has shown out the blocks that he has a bit more pace than the two Forever Ford cars, at least as it seems. Well, obviously Tanner just set the fastest lap, so maybe I'll just shut my mouth next time. But yeah, I was surprised he didn't defend it a little more hard, even though it is early.
I think the problem is that would Kneebone have set that fastest lap when he did, or has he been given the hurry up knowing that Leach is behind him? And Leach is a pretty quick driver himself, so I wonder if that's more the hurry up for Tanner, and that's why he's gone rapid the moment Leach has got past Kieran Argent, because he wasn't really setting the timing screens alight. He has just done a 41.9 though. That is the fastest lap of the race, as Flores is now gaining on Taylor down in towards Villeneuve. It'll be difficult to get the move done through the final part of that, and a bit of damage to the front end of that Aston Martin. Gabino further forward, he's under pressure from Peckman and trying to get himself ahead of Greaves, nearly into the back of Greaves there. That was a little chaotic for him. But yeah, Sam Williams keeping him honest at the moment, and we're in that stage now where it has just started to calm down a little bit in this race. And Steve Millington's not got Greaves a million miles behind, then Gabino, then Peckman, Stapley and Cherry Moore off too far back. And Bettison on the back of Cherry Moore as well. It's Cherry Moore, Bettison, Simcoe and Broomore within close company, and at the moment it all now looks like, after what, 9 minutes of racing, Stephen, that it's quietened down a little bit compared to that first race.
Yeah, the handbags have gone away for now. I'm sure they'll be back out shortly, but we do normally get these sort of lulls in the 60-minute race, don't we? Everybody sort of jostles for position early, then it gets quiet around the pit stops, and then that last sort of 15-20 minutes, it's all bets are off again. Just a bit further to what Langers was saying earlier about Argent defending. I feel like Leach just got to the inside. I feel like there wasn't much Argent could do to defend the inside, because Gary Leach had already parked an orange BMW there. I was a little bit surprised to see Leach outbrake Argent though. I thought that maybe he would try and like hang it out and just sort of keep the inside for the second part of Tamburello, but it looks like those two at the front are starting to drop Argent, and it'll be interesting to see whether Williams can capitalise and move up to P3.
TJ Phil in the chat saying, I wonder if Kieran Argent is running more downforce than his teammate, or if his tyres have gone off the cliff. If his tyres have gone off the cliff 10 minutes in, he's in for a long old second race. I don't think it's the tyre situation. I just think it's possibly a skill issue, as Kieran Argent was off the circuit there. I think Tanner's just a better driver tonight. I think they're both running similar setup. Sam Williams looking up the inside at the very Ante Alta chicane, and Kieran manages to just hold on to that one. Kieran making his own mistakes here, and I think that's more the problem, Langley, than the difference in downforce, because I think they're both running a similar setup. I'm not 100% sure on that, but Kieran just struggling a bit more than Tanner. We know how good a driver Tanner Kneebone is.
Yeah, ACC is an old game, or older game now. The setups have pretty much been solved. It's just slight tweaks that a driver can make to suit their driving style. I wouldn't think that their setups are drastically different. But yeah, Kieran's just making a lot of driver errors right now.
Popovic getting within 0.8 of a second of Sam Williams as well. So keep your eyes out for Popovic. Gary has now done the fastest lap of the race. So Gary's answered back to Tanner Kneebone. So what is that fastest lap now? A 1:41.950 was Tanner's. A 1:41.705 is Gary Leach's. And he took 0.7 of a second out of Tanner on the last lap. So these two are in a class of their own at the moment. And I don't think even if Sam gets past Kieran Argent, Sam's going to have an answer for the two in front. As Popovic now getting really close to the back of the two for the podium. And Kieran's got 48 minutes to try and hang on to a double podium here tonight. That'll be an impressive result for Kieran Argent, who looks a little slidey and loose through the entry of Piratella. And down towards Aqua Minerale they go. And nice and easy, runs a little wide at the apex of the final part of it. Should be okay. Covers the middle of the road. In fact, no, he doesn't. He opens the door for Sam Williams to come up the inside. Why he didn't keep that in the middle of the road, I don't know. Brass to break early. Sam Williams hops over the curbs, gets ahead of Kieran Argent. Kieran's now gone wide on exit, and Popovic is going to have the inside line for Ravazza. Kieran Argent is thrown away a podium at this stage of the race. He just hasn't got the ability to defend from these cars behind him, trying to instantly re-attack on Popovic. Gets it slowed down. Does he keep that inside line for the final part of Ravazza? Yes, he does. What's the exit like? Merc versus BMW. Merc comes out on top for now.
Yeah, and I actually looking down the order, Steve's had a really good start in terms of what this Constructors' Championship is turning out to be as they fight down to turn one.
They do fight down to turn one. Kieran Argent on the outside of Popovic. Can't do anything about it. You've just got the feeling here with Kieran Gillies is that he's just defending the wrong places at the wrong time, and he's opening the door there for Sam Williams to make that move at the chicane.
Yeah, it was bizarre. It just almost looked like he wasn't expecting a move into the Variante Alta. It was, I mean, those four other forward cars are bright red, and it was the red carpet that was rolled out for Sam Williams there, and then just he needs to settle down. He's starting to make a few sort of more scruffy errors, and you can see he's trying to get his head down and get those places back, but all he's doing is making more mistakes and falling further back. And yeah, it's been a tough lap for Argent. He's gone from quite a comfortable third place to suddenly being fifth and dropping back off this group too. He's got Mirko Ricci, who's not a million miles away behind him now either, about a second back. So yeah, he's got to regroup pretty quickly here.
He really has indeed, and 6 years almost of commentating and driving with Kieran Argent. His biggest flaw is overdriving that car and outbraking himself, or just making silly little errors. And like you say there, Stephen, that exactly seems to be the case for Kieran Argent at the moment. We're watching Stapley, who's on the back of Sam Greaves. Peckman has put a car between himself and Stapley, and Broom still down behind Simcoe at the moment. But a good train of cars here in a fight for P11. Peckman inside the top 10. Like you're saying, Langley, as well. Yeah, you're right with Steve. He's moved up to 8th place after a bit of a poor qualifying for him. Just quietly going about his business. Doesn't seem to have the pace of the top 7, maybe, but if he keeps just chipping away at it, should slowly be able to bring that gap down and maybe be able to run a little longer in this race on the fuel, depending on what they filled up.
Yeah, and the Ferrari is the best car on fuel in the game. It's very good for SimPlay Racing in terms of the Constructors' Championship because, as I mentioned, it is over a 200-point gap. Steve is not if we're being honest, Steve hasn't driven as well in this back half of the season as he did in the front half. But if they don't lose, if they don't lose too many points from him being down the order, and Gary's up in second, obviously, and with Kieran falling back and down to fifth now, it's not that bad for SimPlay.
It's not as bad, is it? And that's going to be the interesting one to keep our eyes on. And see what happens. I think Kieran's just got to try and regroup here. He looks like he's gaining back on Popovic more than what Mirko is catching on him at this stage of the race. I have just looked at the timing tower and the fuel looks very interesting. A lot of different strategies on them fuel loads at the moment. I don't go into detail with who's who. I don't want to give strategy away for anybody listening that may then find out other people's strategy. Kieran is now leading the vote to win this race. Well, that'll be some race win, dropping down to fifth to coming back to win this race. But it has all quietened down a bit now, Stephen. 3 drivers have made their stops. We have lost 2 drivers actually from this race. I didn't realise we'd lost 2 drivers. So who was they? Let's take a quick look. But it was Stardog and Taylor who have retired from this one. So that'll probably carry them a qualifying ban going into next week. But it all has just quietened down a little bit, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm just looking a little bit further back in terms of the bronze race, and it's been a frustrating few laps for Stapley. He was sort of on the back of Peckman, and then Greaves made an error which allowed Peckman to get through, and Stapley just hasn't been able to like hassle him the same way. Peckman's now also cleared Jabino into P9, and that gap for the bronze lead is just getting ever bigger. He's also got Cherry Moore now right up the back of him, so yeah, it's an interesting sort of period for Stapley. It looks like Cherry Moore might even have a little look into Villeneuve here. That's that'd have been a brave move, but he's too far back there. But Stapley's been solid tonight. I've been pretty impressed with him in bronze. Took
a race win in Hoodarren Cup last night as well in the GT4s. Popovic within 4/10 of Sam Williams now further forward. Gary still fastest lap of the race, but he's 2.6 behind Tanner. These two. Them two, sorry.
In the wall. Sorry, Matt.
Oh, Betterson in the wall. Where's that? That's down just on the exit of Tosa. So yeah, Richard Betterson in the wall there. Not sure what's happened to him. But not ideal for his night. He's had a bad night tonight.
Yeah, one to forget for sure. It looks like he just lost it. I want to say he just lost it by himself on the power. I don't know if he got a wheel on the curb and it just broke under traction and it spat him round into the wall. But he's now sitting there waiting for everybody to go by. But oof, that does not look good. That's a lot of damage on that car.
Yeah, it is indeed. He's got it back going. He'll be able to pit, repair the damage and get that out. Kieran Argent within a second of Popovic. Richie within a second of Kieran Argent. And the leaders pulling ever more further clear of Sam Williams, 7.4 seconds. And this is what I mean about the McLaren. I don't think it's got the legs in this race. With Stardog retiring as well, Langley, that is going to help the likes of Greasy Bandits, 4Q and SimPlay pull even further ahead. SimPlay Racing 4Q and Forever Forward pull even further ahead of Greasy Bandits as Popovic to the outside of Williams now tucks back underneath. Is he going to have the run into Villeneuve? No, pulls back in behind, but it gets Argent a little bit closer. But as I was saying, Langley, with Stardog retiring, Greasy Bandits just falling even further back now in that Constructors' fight.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think it was caused by teammates running into each other. I do believe that was the case with that incident, because they went side by side into the first chicane, and yeah, I think it was just misjudgment and 2 cars going for the same spot on the track. More unlucky than anything, and yeah, as you said, it's going to really hurt them in this Constructors' fight. I think we have a lot of packs of cars on the track right now like we have over the previous rounds, but it's just a very, very difficult track to make an overtake on, and there's a lot of braking zones where you can go for a move, but it'd be very risky to do so, and I think it's just the characteristics of the track bringing a bit of dullness and quieting this race down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Bettson's dragged the car back round to the pits. Wolski's down in 20th on the back of Paul Williams, looking to make a move then as they approach Variante Alta for the 11th time of asking. Gary's now over 3 seconds behind Tanner Kneebone, so Tanner's got himself in a more consistent rhythm than Gary Leach. Popovic, Kieran Argent into the pits. That's early. That's early for a regular pit stop. The others who have pitted have all pitted because of damage. That seems pretty early to me for a pit stop in an hour-long race. He's going to have 40-odd minutes, 9 minutes to go on pretty much a high tank of fuel and fresh tyres, you'd imagine.
The good thing for him, though, is that he'll have clean air, depending on where he comes out on. You lose almost a full lap in the pit lane. So just because of how long it is, we've had 2 long pit lanes 2 weeks in a row now. So we'll see where he comes out and if he can push into some clean air. It looked like he got his rhythm back just a little.
Sorry, Langley.
Yeah.
Wolski jumps over the curb there into the side of Paul Williams. Williams, I think, has kept it going. No, he's had a bit of a spin just after. So Wolski lets him go, and that's going to allow Brian Craig to possibly get the pair of them here. So Wolski really in the wars tonight.
Yeah, not his finest showing. Not sure how much practice he's put in this week, but you would have expected him to be more toward the front, especially being in a BMW.
Had the qualifying ban. So, we're already on the
yeah,
back
that's
foot.
true.
Simcoe's got ahead of Cherry Moore. So Simcoe, the one who me and Langley's been saying for weeks, has been, him and Privet probably the most improved in, and maybe Tucker as well, most improved in that bronze category. Gary Leach now 8 seconds off the back of Tanner Nebo. What has happened to Gary Leach? Must have been a mistake on his own. He's got Sam within 2.5. Now I have no doubt that Gary can pull that gap back up front and maybe not gain on Tanner, but pull away from Sam. Popovic now into the pits. And where did Kieran Argent come out? Lovely gap to Dronelander, who is a lap down as well. So, yeah, nice little gap in front of him. He's just got to get his head down now, Stephen, and just get some laps on the board.
Yeah, it's an interesting call to box this early. Obviously, we know that the M4 tends to have that sort of weird graining phase, sort of around 20 minutes, or just after 20 minutes. So maybe by getting rid of those tyres early, he only has to go through that process once rather than twice this race. That, I guess, could be a benefit. As he goes way wide over the curbs onto Aquaminerali, that won't do him much good. But Popovic and also into the pits as well, and I wonder whether that was maybe just to cover that undercut off. Maybe it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Argent. But yeah, interesting, different strategies at play. We'll see at the end which one wins out, I guess, and yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't hate this from Argent. I feel like he'd fallen down to 5th and wasn't making too much progress. So why not try something different? See if you can get your way back onto the podium that way.
Well, let's see if he gets the jump over Popovic. I've just had a message on Discord from Stardog. Shifting issues. He got a stop-go 30 in the pits for his wheels not shifting properly. So he'd already had the turn 1 incident, and then he's had shifting issues. As here comes Kieran Argent on Popovic, already at full speed, and sadly doesn't get the jump over Popovic and is about where he was before he pitted. So Kieran Argent's tyres will be up to temperature and pressure compared to Popovic's, so this lap, Langley, is really the time you imagine Kieran's got to pounce on the Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, he's got to pounce now, and we'll see what he can do this lap. It's going to be very tight. Popovic trying to build pressure and temperature into his tires. Kieran just losing a little bit there, and yeah, getting very close into the left-hander, but yeah, you mentioned Simcoe. Actually, this track is one of the tracks I remember him having it parked on the fast left-hander before Aquaminerali, and right on the apex. And I said, oh, "What are you doing? You can't just sit there with the car parked." And
multiple laps.
Now he's running top 10. Net. I know Malarex is pitted, but net P2 in class, and yeah, that is a massive improvement.
Sorry, I'm reading in the chat that Kneebone has gone.
Oh no!
And then it says in the pit afterwards, he has made his pit stop, but is that Kneebone disconnecting and getting back in, or is this his regular pit stop? Where we will find out. I think it's his regular pit stop because he's only dropped down to 17th, and that would make sense as to the hot fact now. Because this is Popovic and Kieran Argent about to come flying past him. And Stapley of Millington's done his stop before. Has Tanner Kneebone had a disconnection in this race?
Yeah, he has.
Oh, Tanner, it's gone horribly wrong for Tanner Kneebone in this one. And he's gone again. Has he? No, he's dropped down the order. Apologies, ignore me. So that puts Gary Leach in the net lead of this race. Oh, my days. Yeah, Tanner Kneebone, that is unfortunate.
It's not the way you want it either. And, well, at least he didn't have heartbreak on home soil, but this is a pretty close second.
And just as we were saying about Forever Forward, just starting to get some momentum in that Constructors' Championship, one of them now is behind both cars. Kieran, after the round of pit stops, should get back ahead of Steve, but boy, oh boy, when it rains, it pours. Tannen Ebone there with the disconnection. He'll be furious with that. Absolutely furious. Gap started to string out a little bit now. Closest fight is the Popovic and Kieran Argent battle. Broom into the pits as well. And Stephen, you've got to feel sorry when a driver gets a disconnection.
Yeah, especially when it's in the lead like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to everybody, I'm sure, but Tannen Ebone has not done anything wrong in this race at all, has he? He's been out in front, quite a way in front as well, and to add insult to injury, not only do you get disconnected and you lose a couple of laps, but he's still got to make that mandatory pit stop, so he is going to be stone motherless last by the time he gets that done. And, you know, it's, as much as you don't want it, there'll be a little wry smile, I imagine, from Gary Leach, who's inherited the lead of this race. And, yeah, wow, it turns quickly, doesn't it, racing? It's a funny old game.
It is a funny old game indeed, and this is going to be an interesting one to see what Tanner can do now in this race. He is back out on track. He's on the same lap as Betson, but like you say, he's got to make an additional stop. Millington trying to gain on the back of Stapley. So Stapley's jumped him in the pit stop, and he's got some work to do. He's got his teammate Gary Leach about to put a lap on him. There is Neil Broom coming out the pits just behind Steve Millington and stays out of Gary Leach's way, who is the leader of this race. And he's only 2.6 ahead of Sam. He's not charged away from Sam Williams, but yeah, interesting to see what they can do. So Stapley Millington pretty close, and then it's Argent Popovic, the other battle at the moment. And so far, it's been a pretty quiet middle session here at Imola. A few more cars in the pit lane. We know, though, from weeks before in Pro. Mirko Ricci, yellow flag. What has happened? Oh, and nearly an unsafe rejoin at Tamburello. On to Gabino there, but Mirko Ricci has dropped the cart, and around he goes, and he's got some big damage on the front of that Lamborghini there, Langley. That's potentially ruined his race as well, because that's going to be a big fix in the pit lane.
That's going to be a lot of time trying to repair that car. Hood flapping, possibly bent suspension as well. I mean, he's lucky that he didn't actually make an unsafe rejoin. Very nearly did, and that probably would have been close to race over besides having to tow it to the pits. So he's lucky he's still running right now, but yeah, that's a podium wrecker right there.
Yeah, that is a podium wrecker, and he was only on the podium due to the pit stops. We'll see where he could be. Peckman leaving the pit lane now. Where's Stapley? Only just exiting Ravazza, so Peckman will be well clear of Stapley at the moment. Simcoe and Cherry Moore also in the pits. We'll see when them two come off the limiter. As Mackenzie saying, feel for him, had it last week in India and was not fun. The sausage curb strikes again, says Matt Wright, and they will bite you in a car that's, like you say, it's a front engine circuit, this one. If you're in something that's mid-engine, rear engine, and you hit these sausage curbs wrong, the car will not like it one bit.
No, it will not, and that's why the BMW is so good around here. Is because it can fly over those sausage curbs, and yeah, I'm actually interested to see. This is Gary's race to lose at this point, and he has the better car around the circuit. But Sam's keeping it honest,
yeah.
And Gary's having to deal with this traffic right now, so...
Yeah, Stapley's not let him go easy there, has he? And then he's let him go where he feels he can stay ahead of Steve Millington at the moment. And this is the hard thing, isn't it, Stephen, is you've got to let the leaders through. But at the same time, you don't want to give up that position to the car you're fighting, who's very close to the back of you.
Yeah, and likewise for Gary Leach, you know, got to make sure you get through that traffic without being held up too much. It was good racecraft, I thought, there by Stapley. I don't think it was blocking for blue flags, yeah. But he managed to just be clever about it and keep Millington behind. Millington, I'm fairly sure was ahead of Stapley before the stop, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Either a bad stop or maybe Stapley didn't take tyres, but don't know. It seems unlikely when you box that early. So yeah, no, good racing from Stapley. I think he's currently third, or net third in bronze. Simcoe up to second in class, so it's yeah, it's been a good good middle section of the race for Simcoe for sure in bronze.
It has indeed, as Steve Millington let Sam Williams go. He held him in the last sector. They got back up to 2 seconds. Gary's now approaching the back marker of... Who is that? Who he's approaching? It is Simcoe that he's approaching. We've got Richie on the back of Greaves with that damage. Tanner Nebo now comes into the pit lane. Wolski's trying to gain on the back of Brian Craig with all this damage. Matt Wright saying you've got to watch out for the pesky molehills here at Imola. That's in reference to, was it last season, Langers? The season before when he bounced over the curb, spun it round and blamed it on a molehill?
Yeah, he had a chance at a podium that race, I believe.
He did.
And yeah, decided he'd like to take the scenic route around Imola. He wanted to go visit the Ayrton Senna statue, maybe some other spots, the scenic houses around the place, and you know, all the things he could have blamed it on, and he said a molehill.
Not lack of talent, not them sausage curbs, not anything else. A molehill of all the things you could have blamed something on. Either way, Wolski, with all this damage, is gaining on Brian Craig for a P9 at the moment. Pit stops they haven't taken yet. Argent still within 8/10 of Popovic. Steve still within 9/10 of Stapley. No other real fights out on track so far. And Gary Leach has still got Sam within 1.9 seconds at the minute. Privet is leading bronze, but he's yet to make his stop, and he's having a pretty solid race, is Privet once again in the BMW. And that is a stop-go 30 for Tanner Kneebone for speeding in the pit lane. When it rains, it absolutely pours, and Tanner Kneebone's race has gone from bad to worst. And even if he could have caught anybody in this one, he now won't.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreak for Tanner Kneebone, the man I chose to was man I picked to win this race. Maybe that's my first commentator's curse for SimPlay. I do apologise.
Welcome to the club.
I'm going to be a little bit interested as to where this group at the front. It looks like Williams has gained a lot of time on Leach recently through this traffic. I'm just wondering. I'm looking at Popovic and Argent, and they seem to be in some relatively clean air. They're coming up to the back of Dronelander, who's a lap down, and I'm just a little bit intrigued as to why maybe Leach and Williams haven't come into the box yet. I feel like they must be getting held up a little bit by this blue flag traffic. And is that going to allow Popovic and Argent maybe back into this race? I guess we'll find out soon. But yeah, interesting to stick with it through the traffic.
It's funny you say that, because Argent's last lap was some 7/10 of a second quicker than Sam Williams. Him and Popovic was on the back of Sam, if you remember, before them two pitted. So yeah,
could you imagine Kieran dropping down to 5th and then being in a shout with a win after everything that's happened this race?
I know we won't.
The thing is, Kieran pitted really early, had clean air for only a lap or so before Popovic pitted, and he's just been stuck behind him ever since. So that pitting for clean air did not work out as well, but they've both been pretty quick on track these last few laps, like you said.
They've been quicker than Leach and Sam. Just looking at the last lap times, they've been quicker than the two leaders for sure. I'll see what the lap data says as it updates. Yeah, quicker than Sam by 2/10. Slower than Gary was Argent by 2/10 though, but he was quicker than Sam. Popovic slower than Gary by 1/10. But we'll find out, because Sam Williams has just boxed. So into the pits he comes, and Hunt. This could be a battle for third, but it could also be a battle for the lead in this one. And where is Gary Leach on track? He's in that Mirko Ritchie traffic. Look at where Gary's... Let me just make the track map larger for you. That's Gary, the red triangle. Look at the traffic in front of him. Mirko's going to make him go around the outside into Tozer. And yeah, Gary just cannot seem to catch a break at the moment. I mean, why Gary's not pitted yet, Stephen? He's got all this traffic. Why he's not thought of coming into the box, I don't know.
It's baffling to me, Matt. It really is. I know he had a bit of an advantage over the rest of the field, but he's hemorrhaging time at the moment. Interesting to see where Williams is going to come out, because that will, he's off the jacks now, so he's got a long way to go at that pit lane. I think they might just be okay, but hard to tell. It's hard to tell really, but yeah. I mean, also the other thing you got to be interested in, if Leach trips over one of these blue flag cars, which on a track like this it's easy to do, then I just, why risk it is the thing that I'm asking really. I don't understand.
Well, our question's been answered, because Sam Williams, where is he? he's there, is well clear of Popovic and Kieran Argent. Kieran Argent and Popovic have got ahead of Hunt, but yeah, Sam is well up the road from the pair of them, so good stop for Sam. Did he take tyres though? Because that gap looks awfully big compared to what it was, to say that Popovic and Argent have been catching him. Here comes Steve Millington though, looking up the inside on Stapley, down in towards Tamburello. There you go. Was up to 1 in the morning unpacking a flat pack kitchen for his camper van. Ready for Donington Park next weekend. Gary Leach into the pits. Millington didn't get the job done on Stapley there, but he gets a good run through Tamburello. Now pulls that inside line, looking at Villeneuve. Side by side, into Villeneuve. There you go. Steve Millington looks up the inside, holds it round the outside. Has he got the move done? Bouncing off the curb with Stapley there. Great bit of racing from the pair of them. Steve Millington moves up into 12th place at the moment. Gary and Greaves into the pits.
Yeah, and we'll see. Is Gary going to be able to keep that position on Sam out of the pits? And he dealt with the traffic that lap. Sam's just had to have a clean out lap. He doesn't have any traffic right now, does Sam? So we'll see if that is played into his favor as they both come down the main straight.
Kieran Argent had a look on the inside of Popovic there. Couldn't get the move done. Popovic drops a wheel in the gravel. Argent has another look. Can't get it done on the exit of Ravazza. Here comes Sam Williams. Gary gets off the limiter now. And I think Gary's pulled an even bigger gap over Sam Williams. So good job from Gary Leach in the pits. They're all going to come past Sam Greaves. Oh, Diego Flores is now in for his stop. And Kieran Argent getting racy with Popovic. He knows now that this could be a set of P3s for him in this race. He's just got to find a way past this Mercedes-Benz. And what Popovic is doing here is what Argent should have done at the beginning.
Yeah, now that is a gap between Sam and Gary. That makes me wonder, is Gary taking tires? That is a 5-second or so gap. In fact, it is 5.8 seconds, just about the gap. Remember, Sam was only 7/10 behind Gary when he pitted. So that is the gap that makes me wonder if Gary took tires.
Yeah. Peckman, after the pit stops, is P6 on the back of Hunt for P5. He is on a charge in this second race, is Peckman. He wants that bronze championship for sure. We've just saw Sturrock get ahead of Neil Broom. Cherry Moore's on the back of him, as well as Malarex there, and Sturrock's on the back of Stapley in that 3rd place in bronze at the minute. Simcoe running in a solid 9th place for Simcoe. What a drive for him. Wolski looking at the back of Brian Craig. Didn't repair that BMW, so that one will be for Greasy Bandits to try and buff out, ready for Valencia next week. Kieran Argent within 6/10 of Popovic. No, he's not. Where is he? He's way back more than 6/10 now. That something's happened to Kieran. His own mistake, possibly. And the 75, who is that? That is Bettison back in the pit lane. And I think has just left, so that is a retirement there. And Kieran has a moment through Ravazza. Once again, a little wiggle on the opening pot. Kieran's throwing this away a little bit now.
Yeah, it's all looking a little bit scruffy, isn't it? All of a sudden from Argent, he'd stuck with Popovic so well after he came out of the pits in front of him, but he's dropping back now. 3 seconds. Is that across a single lap as well? That's a horrible lap from Argent. So he needs to gather it all up and try and find something. And it's a shame as well, because that was one of our closest battles on track.
Was indeed. So we have got a good train though behind Stapley, just starting to develop. Sturrock, Broom, Cherry Moore, Malarex. Then you got Brian Craig. Oh, Wolski is pushing Brian Craig out to Ravazza. Down the start line they come. Wolski's already pulled out side by side with the Lamborghini. BMW on that inside line of Wolski. He's been in the wars in this second race. And is he going to get that move done on the Lamborghini now? Yes, he does. Moves up into P17. So Brian Craig loses out another spot there. And Peckman really close to the back of Hunt. This is a great drive from the Bronze Championship leader.
Absolutely amazing drive. He's shown some of these this season. I mean, I think the one he showed his best race this season was by far and away Watkins Glen. But some of these other races that he's had this season, it's what you talk about at the beginning. You want one massive round where you gain points on your championship rivals, and then you just want to consistently click away. Doesn't always have to be that dominant performance, but you want to consistently click away with the results. And right now, he is doing just that. P6 overall right now. And he's looking eager to join this silver class, isn't he, Matt?
He really is looking eager to join the silver class. Was in silver last year and got himself demoted down into the bronze category for, just pace and where he finished in the silver championship. But he's come back fighting stronger than ever. As Sturrock, race 1 winner, gaining on the back of Stapley now then. Kieran's now 5 seconds behind Popovic. It has all gone wrong. Now, Philip, might be the time where his tyres may have gone off a cliff. Instead of 10 minutes in the race, but yeah, Kieran Argent just no answers. Gary last lap was 3 tenths slower than Sam. Popovic was 5 tenths slower than Sam. Kieran Argent was some 2.6 seconds slower than Sam, 2.1 slower than Popovic on the last lap. Simcoe was actually the fastest driver last time around, so 42.9, heck of a lap from Simcoe that, and he's trying to hunt down Gabino for a top 8 in this race. Doable.
Yeah, he's just been quietly plugging away as Simcoe. He's managed to keep his nose clean when those around him necessarily haven't. And some really good pace from the Ferrari driver here. We're speaking about Argent. I said earlier about the BMW's weird grading phase that it goes through. It's usually about sort of 20-25 minutes into a stint. I'm fairly sure Argent pitted 20 minutes into this race, which puts him probably about slap bang into that grading phase. So he was maybe pushing a bit too hard, trying to keep up and pass Popovic, and maybe that's starting to bite him now. Who knows?
I think Kieran's issue tonight is that he's been passive when he needed to be aggressive, and he's been too aggressive when he needed to play it smart. And it's just some of the mental errors around here. And Imola is no easy track to hook up. Doesn't matter what car you're in, and it's just come back to bite him tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're both right there with what you say. I think he's just, last time I saw Kieran front row of the grid was Alton Park, and we all remember how that ended up. And it kind of gives me a similar Alton Park vibe. Bar him spinning, it kind of gives me that vibe of he's on the front row, and has it got to him mentally as the race is about to start? And he, like you say there, Langley, has he just been aggressive when he needed to be a bit more cautious? Has he been too cautious when he should have been a bit more aggressive?
Yeah, I think there were some moments where he could have defended early on to hold position, and then I think there were some moments like when he had lost a position, there was no need to be super aggressive to try to get the place back or be late on the brakes and go wide at a corner. It's just, once you've lost a battle, you've lost it. Now you got to get back into a rhythm. I just feel like he flipped that switch just a bit too late sometimes.
We're watching the fight here for P12 and 13 between bronze third place of Stapley and then 13th place of Sturrock. Betson saying, my last race, hope there's another season after this great competition. There will always be another season, Beto. And it's not your last race. You'll come back in that Aston for Valencia and Donny. I know you will. I know you will. Great race at Indianapolis. Not a great night at Imola. 2 weeks left to go. But I'm sure you'll be back. But yeah, there will be another season. Prime and Prime right around the corner. There is rumours who Darren Cup could be changing for next season. We're not going to give too much away just yet. But different game potentially on the horizon for who Darren Cup. Could be a big time for SimPlay Motorsport moving forward. Gary Leach has lost a few seconds to Williams. That gap's 4.6. Sam's pulled away from Popovic, and Argent's now 7 seconds behind. Argent's being caught by Hunt here, and he's bringing Peckman along for the ride as well. So I don't know. This is Argent. There's still time for him here, Stephen, to drop down behind Hunt and Peckman at the moment. The rate he's losing time to them two.
Yeah, it's all coming apart at the seams for Forever Forward, isn't it? Obviously, we all saw what happened to Tanner Kneebone. He's down in 25th, laps down, and there was still a chance that Argent could get a good result, but it's just starting to come away. Just interestingly, looking at that gap between Leach and Williams, Williams looks like it's, it doesn't look like it was one particular mistake. Williams, the last couple of laps, has been consistently quicker than Leach, so maybe Leach didn't take tyres, and that's starting to just come back the way of Sam Williams in the McLaren. So maybe we're just going to get a bit of a late dice for the lead if we're lucky. I've got my fingers crossed.
I'll tell you what, if a McLaren wins here tonight, after we've absolutely
Yeah.
chatted about the BMW all week. We both need to put a sock in it next
Yeah.
time and just yeah, or we all need to put a sock in it next time and just keep our mouths shut till the end because yeah, Sam's had a great drive. To keep him honest, and
Yes.
yeah, I think you're right, Steven. I don't think Gary took tires. I think it may have clicked in his head when he caught that traffic after Sam pitted. He might have thought, well, I'm gonna lose this position if I do the same strat and take tires. So I wonder if that lap he decided to not take tires.
We'll keep our eyes on it. Sturrock has got past Stapley, and Millington's gaining on Mirko Ritchie. Anderson saying Mario Kart for the next 2 Darren Cup season. Alistair Cummins is saying Wreckfest 2 for next season. Both brilliant games. There's a Star Wars pod racing game coming out this year.
Mario Kart? We're not going to the F1 games.
Yeah, fair one. 2060 DLC isn't out yet for the F1 game, so we can't play Mario Kart yet. Either way, no need for tickets or appeals then in Wreckfest. Oh, someone would still find a way to submit a ticket, I tell you now. Probably be Gary. He'd have a ticket put on him for the way he's driven tonight. But you're right, one of us in the comms box has jinxed a driver. So, God forbid, we haven't jinxed Gary Leach in this race.
There is one driver I want to point out, but I'm afraid to point him out because the last time I did, it went terribly wrong for him. And it's the man P2 in the bronze class right now. He's having an absolutely exceptional night in his Ferrari.
Oh, no. Oh no! Well, the two.
I don't want to play a curse, but just needs to
basically say, yeah. As he checks his crystal ball to just make sure nothing's going to happen. We're watching Sam Greaves and Gabino here fight for P7 and 8 with Simcoe, the man that has just mentioned, just behind, 7 seconds behind as well. Mackenzie says, as long as it's the Wii, I'm all for Mario Kart. For Mario Kart, I'm all for it. Got Wii Tennis on the go.
Oh, it's got to be the DS, doesn't it? Yeah, the old school DS.
GameCube. No, the Nintendo 64.
Oh,
that's what you want. Get the Nintendo 64.
Oh, that's the we're going really old. If you can somehow figure out a way to stream a Nintendo 64,
there's probably a capture card out there to do that. Don't you worry about that one. Well, you've just jinxed Simcoe because he's just tumbled down to P11. So whatever you've done, he's gone from 9th to 11th. So now, not only have we. Not only is Gillies...
We're 2 from 2 in the box today.
Oh my god. Me and Langley normally...
Do you want to pick a driver, Duff?
No, I'm fine. I'll keep going. I'll keep going as
hello,
well.
Boys. How's the stream going? Just joining in on the stream.
So for everybody watching, me and Langley we have the cameras on. We like to see each other's reaction on the PC Discord chat to everything that's happened. So I can see Langley's reaction to that, hence the laughter, because he's took his headset off, he's put it down, and he's just sat there. Because Simcoe's just had a moment and he's lost out 2 places. But he is on the back of Ritchie and Millington, so he is there to gain them back. But he's got Sturrock, your race 1 winner, right behind him as well. Just behind them is Broom, trying to get that 3rd place in bronze. And 2nd place isn't far away with Stapley down the order now as well. Wolski on the back of Cherrymore. Flores trying to get on the back of Paul Williams. Tanner's took the fastest lap of the race back, so there's a consolidation point for him. So, well done, Tanner. Keep pushing, mate. You never know what could happen.
Oh, it's got even worse for Simcoe.
Oh, no.
Langers. A bit of contact, I think, with Millington at the very
I think Gary's having a great night, lads. I think Gary's having a great night out up front and absolutely dominating this race, isn't he?
So Simcoe's now fell behind Sturrock and Stapley. Yeah, Stapley, Broom, Malarex. Don't think he's behind Sherry Moore. He has lost the podium. Yeah, he's lost the podium to Broom.
If he, the only thing I can think of is that he listens to the stream while he races. Yeah, I'll just I'll keep my mouth
I think you
shut
need to write a DM an apology to him, and you, Gillies. Actually, you need to apologise to Tanner at the end of this one.
I won't be invited back.
Tanner may not want you back, but you're welcome back any time. As Sturrock with a bit of front-end damage gaining on Millington, who's lost out a little bit. Broom and Stapley duking it out through Villeneuve. Stapley runs a little deep at the exit. Broom looks to cut underneath, but it's put him on the outside line for Tozer. Malarex waiting in the wings as well. And this is for 2nd, 3rd and 4th in that bronze category. 12th, 13th and 14th overall. Popovic is now 8 seconds behind Sam Williams, so lost out even more. Sam's lost a bit of time to Gary Leach. And Argent has brought the gap down a little bit to Popovic, but I think it's too late for him in this one. 10 minutes to gain 5 seconds is a lot of time to gain. Peckman was on the back of Hunt. He's now 2 seconds behind, so something's happened there. Gabino still chasing down Greaves. Millington trying to get back onto the rear of Ritchie with Sturrock just behind. But it's this bronze fight for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th spot, and possibly 5th if Simcoe can get back on the rear, provided Langley doesn't put any more bad luck on his Ferrari. Been a great little fight. It really shows the difference, doesn't it? And this is for both of you here. Really does show the difference in a 15-minute sprint and an hour-long feature, because what we saw earlier on, Stephen, was just handbags, elbows out, aggressive, attacking racing, start to end. He has been a lot more calmer.
Yeah, well, there's 10 minutes to go, so there's plenty of time for handbags and elbows to come back out. We might see that. Broom's looking very racy in P13. Sniffing down for 2nd in bronze. Yeah, just looking at that gap, it's gone up again at the front, Gary Leach, and I've had a quick look at the lap times, and Sam Williams' pace has been pretty consistent, and I just wonder whether maybe Leach has realised sort of that gap was coming down and just thought, right, okay, well, we'll crank it up another 5%, and he seems to have it in hand at the moment. Yeah, no, that P12, P13, P14 fight is really hotting up, and Cherry Moore behind Wolski as well. Was Cherry Moore in front of Wolski a while ago? Have I missed that?
Was in front of Wolski, I do believe, yeah. So something's happened.
A little mistake there.
Yeah. Wolski's now up to 16th with that battered BMW, and
yellow flags. Kieran Argent's round at the Variante Outer. Sorry, Matt.
No, you're absolutely fine. So Kieran Argent then has made a mistake. He's lost out to Hunt and to Peckman. Kieran Argent's night goes from bad to worse, and once again, just lacking at the finish line here. With 8 minutes left, he was starting to make some inroads on Popovic. And then, well, that's been put to bed. He's now got to chase down the... What a night for Peckman in this Bronze Championship. Not only has he got multiple cars between himself and Broom, but he's also got now a huge points difference, because obviously the gap between points gets bigger the higher up the standings you are. So this is huge for Peckman in this race, Langley.
Yeah, and he is by far and away the championship favorite after this race if he can hold it together, because I don't know why you sent it to me, because... If we're talking about Peckman, next thing I know, he'll be down in P20 after I'm done talking about him. So, yeah, this is an amazing race for him. It's just been so consistent tonight. And up in P5 is just an absolutely brilliant result for the bronze driver. And still a big fight for P2 on the podium right now. But, yeah, just absolutely dominant from Peckman tonight.
Really has been, and well, it could get even worse for Kieran here, because Sam Greaves is only 2 seconds behind him, and then he's got Gabino 3/10 on the back of Sam Greaves, so it could get even worse for Kieran Argent. He's got to keep his head in this race, and what would have been I mean, Kieran, let's hope we hear from him in the interview room through his podium in race 1. I'm sure we can ask what happened in that second race, but yeah, for sure, he will not be happy with his performance. And he's only really, Stephen, got himself to blame here.
Yeah, I don't like speaking ill of drivers, especially, you know, in my first time in the box. But if I had to describe it, if I had to use a word to describe this second race from Argent, it's scruffy. The frustrating thing for him, I'm sure, is that the pace was there. Like, he put it on the front row of the grid. He was holding his own with the guys who are still at the front of this race. But I think what Langer said earlier was spot on. He's been too passive when he needed to be a little bit firmer, and too aggressive when he needed to consolidate. And it's I mean, he's not potentially immune from losing more places here. He'll just be looking at that clock and willing it to finish. Because if Greaves and Gabino have got sort of any sense here, they'll see Argent struggle and be like, right, if we can maybe not fight each other for a few laps here, work together, and we can maybe catch up in these last 6 minutes. But yeah, it'll be interesting to hear his side afterwards, that's for sure.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see in Langley's face. Oh dear, it will be interesting to see Kieran's side of it, and I think that's going to be the important thing for Kieran Argent. to sort of reflect on after this race as well. He's 5 seconds off the back of Peckman, so what can he get done with 6 minutes from the end of this race? Steve Millington has been overtaken by Sturrock. Excuse me. As he was chasing down Mirko Ricci. Oh no, Simcoe's in the pits. Oh, Langley, what have you done? He's in the pits. He's going to fall right down the order. Langley's left the side. He's rejoined. Oh, brilliant. Oh, Laggers, you've really ruined his night. Is that out of fuel? Let's take a look at the Simbot. What did he cross the line with last lap? 9 litres. Oh, that would have been tight to the end. Yeah, I think he's pitted for a splashing dash, but it'll cost him the 25 seconds here, that is for sure. Back to the Gabino Sam Greaves fight. Oh, it's not a tenth of a second anymore because Gabino's got past him. Right then, Gabino, have you got 2 seconds to get onto the back now of Kieran Argent and potentially gain an extra place in this race? 4Q scoring big tonight over Greasy Bandits. Greasy Bandits well down the order because Wolski's down in 15th. Stardog not scoring. Forever Forward scoring big over Greasy Bandits. SimPlay Racing scoring big as well. This is huge for 4Q to try and catch Langley. That of Forever Forward in the standings with Nebo obviously down the order.
Yeah, we were talking about Forever Forward catching SimPlay, and that's become the exact opposite at this point. Now Forever Forward being chased down in the constructors by 4Q, and oh, that was very close at the left-hander there between Greaves and Garbino.
Wolski's made a huge mistake at Villeneuve there. Into the wall he goes quite hard. Just turned over to see the fight between him and Malarex. He's lost out to Cherry Moore. And he's not going to lose out to Brian Craig, so he's down to 16th. So bad to worse for Greasy Bandit so far tonight. Gary's got 3.8 seconds to Sam Williams. 3 minutes 45 left on the clock. Still a big job for Sam.
He's got a little bit of traffic, does Gary.
Yeah.
Right ahead of him, so
that's Tanner and
earlier.
Johnson
It's not over till it's over, so ooh, that could be spicy.
Gary still can't clear them.
Not on the same lap.
Yeah. No, Johnson's P20, only a lap down.
Yeah, they're not on the same lap, so.
Yeah, it is. Matt Wright saying, nice to see Gabino back up there fighting. He's had a quiet season.
I think
Indeed,
Tanner
he has.
just like Gary through.
Yeah, he's got to, and he's got to abide by the rules. Mirko Ricci coming under pressure now from Sturrock. Sturrock's had a great night, by the way, Stephen. Race win, and you know, starting from the back, who's that with a drive-through? Car 23, Mark Tucker. So, where is he? He's coming through Ravazza now. Tanner's at Piratella. Tanner Nebo might get an extra position here, but Sturrock's had a great night. Back of the grid race 2, he's up in 10th place, possibly 9th. Win race 1. Stephen, great night for Sturrock.
Yeah, for sure. He looks like he's really hassling Richie around at the moment as well. So, I mean, I was trying to think about driver of the day with 2 minutes to go, and Sturrock's got to be a contender. Really strong race 1, and if he can get this move done, P9 strong result from the back, as you say, and it's not been an easy pack to carve your way through today. There's been a lot of incidents, a lot of contact, so it looks like he's got a little bit of damage on the front of that Mercedes, but he's managed to do enough, and he'll be hoping he can get one more move, one more place. Ooh. And as he runs wide over the curbs, hope he's not too high on his track limits warnings. He's also got Millington for close company as well, which he'll be sat behind him, just hoping that the two of them can hold each other up, and maybe he gets a chance to pounce him back into the top 10.
Well, the 3 I've put in the poll is Sturrock, race win, and then from back of the grid to 10th. I think a good night for him. Kieran Argent, podium and P6. I think good results for him across the night. Popovic is in the pits. Oh, well, that'll annoy Kieran Argent even more. Popovic has ran out of fuel. That'll annoy Argent even more. I've put Peckman. Peckman had a terrible race 1, but he's 1.2 off of an outright podium at the moment. Absolutely
I'd love
incredible
for him to get that podium, but it's getting really close here at the end. It'd be hard to make that move that quick, but if Hunt makes a mistake, it could be.
Well, Gary Leach is just coming through Piratella down towards Aqua Minerale. I can see on the track map, so maybe 1 lap left after the one he's on. And this is the 3-way fight for now 8th place in this race, and Gabino is all over the back of Kieran Argent all of a sudden. So Kieran under pressure once more. Who's that? Oh no, that's Mock Tucker, sorry, with the same drive through. Tucker's past Dronelander, so Dronelander's made a mistake somewhere. So where's Tanner? Tanner at the chicane. Well, this could be a bigger penalty for Tucker if he doesn't take this penalty. Either way, back to the fighting between Sturrock and Ritchie and Millington. We'll keep our eyes on Gabino and Argent, as well as Broom and Stapley for second place in the bronze category. There they are in the background. And what a race it's been. So get your votes in for driver of the day. We'll get bronze and silver driver of the day from the commentators at the end of the night. And what a night it's been as well. Give a round of applause in the chat for Gillies coming to join us in the commentary box tonight. Cracking job from Gillies, who's joined the madhouse of me and Langers on a Wednesday night. Leader is on the final lap. So Gary did get that extra lap on the board. He's still got traffic in front of him, and the gap to Sam is only 3.1. What about Argent and Gabino? 0.2 of a second is that gap. And Gabino is right there to put the pressure on Kieran Argent here. Hunt could be with a driver of the day shout as well. Yeah, probably overlooked Hunt a little bit there. Probably did. What was his race 1 result? It was 6th. Yeah, probably have overlooked Hunt, to be honest with you. So Hunt could be in with a good shout as well. Yeah, fair play. Fair play, righty. That's why you're an admin.
That's why I always pick my favorite sodas for the admins, if you know, Matt.
I did, yeah. So it's been really hot today in Florida and in the UK, really hot. So I've had nice Dr Pepper cream soda for my beverage choices. Langley picked 2 beverages based off of his 2 favourite admins, is what he told me earlier. Just tell us the beverages, Langers, if you would.
No, I'll tell him later.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Adds a suspense.
Right.
Adds a suspense.
Where's Gary Leach at the final corner? He's about to come round, and he's about to take yet another race win this season, and really looks like he's stamping his authority on this championship. Gary Leach comes round the final corner. 14 rounds have been done so far this season, and he has won yet again. Gary Leach takes the checkered flag for first place here at Imola. Great result for him. Sam Williams will cross the line in second place. Hunt comes across. What a season Hunt is having. He will come across the line. Johnson, 30-second time penalty for not serving a drive-through. That may be okay in terms of where he is over the others. Hunt will come across the line for a solid P3 in this race. Good job from him. And your bronze winner of Peckman, even better in P number 4 in this race. What a drive from Peckman. Great result for him. Kieran Argent managed to withstand the pressure of Gabino behind to hang on in there for P5. Gabino will be P6. Greaves will cross the line in 7th place. Mirko Ritchie fends off the challengers for behind for P8 over that of Sturrock and Millington. Sturrock will be 9th. Millington down in 10th place. Good results for them 3. Stapley will be 2nd in that bronze category ahead of Broom. Malarex ahead of Cherry Moore. Wolski down in 15th place. Not the night for Cherry Moore tonight in this one, sadly for him. But work to do, I'm sure, to come back and try and pick up the results. Wolski P15. Brian Craig P16 in this race. Privet will come across the line. Good night for Privet in this race. Down in 17th place. We've just got to wait now for Popovic. I'm trying to find Wolski on the standings. There he is. So that was a P14 for him. Well, I believe someone has potentially left the server. Yes, they have. So I'll double check that when I input it at the end. Here comes Popovic. We've got Flores to cross line. Tucker did do his drive through, but sadly Tanner Kneebone will finish behind him. There is Flores, and we just wait for Tucker to cross the line, and then we'll get the final thoughts from the 2 chaps in the commentary box with me now, as well as their drivers of the day. So Stephen, let's start with you. Final thoughts on today's action and your driver of the day.
Yeah, I mean, Imola provided. We had a very hectic race 1. A race 2 that threatened to maybe be a little bit quieter towards the middle, but thankfully those last 10 minutes we had a few good scraps towards the end. And yeah, no, really exciting. Yeah, just thanks again for having me.
Been an absolute pleasure. Your silver driver of the day and your bronze driver of the day.
So I'm thinking Sturrock for silver. I think he had a really strong showing. Obviously, winner in race 1, and yeah, coming through the field to finish P9. Just didn't quite get a Okay, Richie at the end there. And bronze, I mean, Peckman's going to take all the headlines for that P4 in the feature race, but I feel like just under the radar, Stapley winning race 1 and second in the feature race. I think it's a real solid performance from him, so I'll go for Stapley, knowing that someone will inevitably pick that.
Stapley for you there. Langley, final thoughts from you and your drivers of the day as well.
Very difficult track for the drivers tonight. A lot of missteps out there, and Imola proved to be the challenge it always is, especially with the curbs all around the track. Some great racing towards the end as well. Yeah, I'll definitely capitalize on what Steven said there. Yeah, I'll go Peckman, bronze driver of the day, overall driver of the day for me, because he didn't have a great race 1, but that P4 and overall in race 2 is just an unbelievable result for his championship as well. And silver driver of the day, because he got the podium in race 2 compared to race 1, I'll actually give it to Hunt, since my other admin colleague actually picked up on that one.
The less favourite of the two.
Opinions.
I'm going to go the way of... do you know what? I'll give him a morale boost. I'll go different to both of you. I'll go Argent. Good night. I think Sturrock and Hunt both fantastic. I'll go Argent for a nice morale boost for him. And I'm going to go with Stapley as well. I think Stapley, with an honourable shout out to Privet, with his first podium of the season in bronze. I think he's had a good night as well. But we are joined in the commentary box by the top 2 in that second race. We'll see if any of the others from race 1 or 2 join us as well. Sam, we'll start with yourself. Congratulations on the P2. Good podium tonight in a race that didn't look like the McLaren was going to be able to compete with them BMWs.
Thank you. Yeah, I knew I had some pace there, but then BMWs were just hooked up. So yeah, happy to get a podium, a second place, a repeat of last season, I believe. But yeah, more points, a good performance, considering it got quite sketchy at times. So yeah, I'm happy.
Happy indeed. It got a little close to Gary. Gary looked like he must have made his own mistake somewhere. We didn't see what had happened, but it got pretty close to him. And you was within touching distance for a brief moment, within a couple of seconds, but seemed like after the pit stops that kind of got put to bed.
Yeah, it did. I think I don't know if it was traffic or something happened, but we closed up, and like you said, after the pit stops, it was pretty hard to catch him up. I think we were sort of ebbing and flowing with lap times, and then at sort of last 10 minutes he just picked up another bit of pace, and then more traffic got involved. But yeah, it's great pace, great win. And congratulations to him. I couldn't catch him up. Great pace, and lucky to Tanner as well. It was very unfortunate with his disconnect. He had great pace tonight as well.
Yeah, he did indeed. We go to Valencia next week, a track where I'm sure the McLaren is pretty strong around Valencia. What's your thoughts on it? What can you do around there? Obviously a bike circuit, so a bit different to our normal racetracks of Imola and Indianapolis, and of course Donington Park at the end, but going to be a good one nonetheless, I feel.
Yeah, so I didn't like it the first time we went out, but that was in the Lamborghini, and I didn't like the track then. But since I've done some testing in the McLaren, yeah, it feels very strong, and it's a circuit I now like. So a massive increase in pace compared to the Lambo. So yeah, hoping for more points to see what I can do.
Indeed. Well, congratulations tonight, Sam, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you very much. No.
We've got we'll go to Kieran Argent. It was P3 in the first race. Kieran, congratulations on the P3 from race number 1. Must have been a good feeling, especially then the P2 in qualifying. Talk us through what happened in race 2.
Glitch. It basically, I'd done my fuel strategy at the start of the race, like you always do, and started the race with 5 laps of fuel. So it's not saving strategy, or it's just. But yeah, I didn't want to pit that early, but had to run on that fuel. But is what it is.
Is what it is. The podium in race 1 though was pretty nice. It was an early pit stop in race number 1, and it seemed to give you that way to avoid all the carnage that was happening on the track while you went into the pits and allow you to get that P3.
yeah, I've always a plan, especially around here, it's hard to overtake. So I thought get in the pits early and literally just, keep my nose clean and do some quick laps in clean air. But, unfortunately I couldn't get the win, but podium's always nice.
Podium is always nice. Talk us through qualifying as well. Obviously, I do believe that is the first team to lock out the front row of the grid here in Pro-Am this season. Must have been a nice feeling.
Yeah, I've had decent pace around here all week in testing. As you can imagine, I've not complained most of the week, so it couldn't be that bad. And then I just needed to find some time in the middle and last sector, and managed to do so. We'll never catching Tanner though, 5/10 ahead. Thoughts
on Valencia? Obviously, you're a bit of a bike lover yourself in terms of the MotoGP and things. Going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I believe it's my pick from the Discord, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's a good track with me in the path. Podium there last time behind Gary, so never say never.
Never say never. Kieran, congratulations on the P3 tonight, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
And we will now go to Gary Leach, I believe, who is in here with us. Yes, he is. Gary, congratulations, P number 1 yet again. Solid opening race of the night, and then a great job to win this second race. Are you starting to maybe think now that this championship is getting a little bit closer?
Never say never. You never know what's going to happen to you. First race, I wouldn't say it was solid. I got absolutely wiped out and was near the back of the pack. Managed to come through though. But I said at the start of the race it was a test session. The car felt terrible in free practice. Made a few tweaks, so I didn't know what the hell it was going to do going into the first turn. Took it nice and easy. I said to the boys in front of me, we're all in the same party, I said, I'm just going to let you boys go, get a feel for the car and have a go in race 2. But someone behind me decided not to stop, and yeah, we'll say no more about race 1. Quali was all right though. So
yeah, quali was good. Race 2 seemed a lot better. Obviously, you have to say commiserations to Tan and Ebone for the disconnection. What happened when you was about 7 or 8 seconds clear of Sam Williams? What happened when he all of a sudden was about 2 seconds behind you?
Turn 1 decided to go away from me. I don't know where it disappeared to, but I ended up miles off where I should have been, and that messed up 2, 3 and 4, I believe, before I could get back into a groove. So yeah, lost a load of time.
We head to Valencia next week. What's your thoughts on Valencia?
Can I have my Porsche back? Now, Porsche always went well around there. I haven't even took this car, well, you know me, I haven't took this car around any track. But yeah, we'll just, turn up and see what we can do.
Well, best luck, Gary. Congratulations on the race win. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, boys, and unlucky, Tanner. That was your race to win.
Yeah, indeed, it was indeed. Well, that is Imola in the bag. That is the drop scores in the bag for Pro-Am now. We head to Spain for the season, for the penultimate rounds of the season at Valencia before heading home to Donington Park. Just after the touring car's Donington Park as well, Langers. That's a point. Mike would have walked it, so he's got no excuses next week for Donington, has he? Hey?
Maybe we can find Gary's chips as well.
Nah, Seagulls would have had all them. I'll fill anybody in on the story. If you want to know, DM me on Discord. I'll tell you the story of Gary and his chips at Donington Park. Either way, what a race it's been. Stephen, I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you for joining us once again.
I've had a great time. Yeah, hopefully see you all again soon at some point. Thank you.
Indeed. So we've got 2 weeks left. It is coming down to the wire. Let's quickly go through them championship standings. I have worked out the current drop scores. These are provisional results until they are posted on Discord or our social media platforms of Facebook and Instagram. Gary Leach leads by 82 points over Steve Millington. Now it is 86 for a 85, for a race win, so it's not done and dusted by any stretch of the imagination. Sam Williams is only 5.5 points behind Steve now, so he's clawing that in. Mirko Ricci as well, a further 3.5 points back from Sam Williams. Wolski is in 5th from Hunt 6th. Argent down in 7th. Stays 7th. Greaves is 8th. Tan and Ebone drops to 9th with Johnson 10th and Stardog 11th. Them top 11 can still mathematically all win this championship. Cabino is 12th from Flores, De Block, Paul Williams, Sturrock, Brian Craig, Betson, Popovic, Dronelander, Taylor, Limiter and Cummins. In bronze, Matt Taylor and Page can no longer win the championship no more, so it's only the top 7 who can do that. But Peckman is some 69 points clear of Neil Broom. Roughly 69 points, if my maths is correct there, from Neil Broom. What a night for Peckman in this one. Broom 2nd, Stapley 3rd. starting to close in on Broome a little bit. Malarex is 4 from Cherry Moore, Tucker, Privet, Taylor, Page, Simcoe and Rob Smith. And in the Constructors' Championship, it is down to 4 teams who can win this. Obviously, all results are provisional, so it could change over the course of stewarding. But SimPlay Racing have a almost 300-point lead over 4Q Motorsport, who are only 6.5 points ahead of Forever Forward Racing. Very tight there. Greasy Bandits drop a bit further back. They are the top 4 teams still left in this constructors fight. So that one could potentially... No, it can't. No, it can't be potentially. Ignore me. It will be decided at Donington Park. Cloud9 are P5 from Vanguard Racing in P6. Team GBR 7 from Richie's Course Team. Team Merlot, FRO Racing Team, Black and Blue Racing, Balkan Simmel, Pages Racing Team, Billy No Mates and Mustang Alley Racing. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to check out Design Manchester in the description below, as well as hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and hitting that bell to be notified. I'll see you tomorrow night for the pro action around Imola for the sprint and feature race. And we'll be back with me and Langley in the box at least for Valencia next week. From all of us here at SimPlay Motorsport, goodbye.